All right, welcome in to the Ryan Ripken Show, episode 43. It is Thursday, January, if I do my math right or look at the calendar, it's January 4th.
One for one on the night.
Here we go. We are rocking and rolling, and we'll go around a little bit, everyone that's tuned in. If you're new to the show, thank you for tuning in. And if you're coming back again, welcome back. You can listen to us on YouTube. We're live on Twitter or X. We're on Instagram. And then also we're on podcast platforms. I meant to mention that in the past. Zach, don't be so in a rush. We're going to get to you.
I just don't like that you call it X. I hate when people call it
So
X.
that's why I'm trying to tell people where they could listen to our stuff.
You can listen to it on Twitter.
Okay. Well, Zach, great to see you. But we have Kevin back in the building. Kevin,
thank you for having me.
Kevin with Locked On Ravens, and we got Nick with Ravens.
There you go.
We have Locked On Ravens and no Ravens.
The actual Ravens.
And I'm back.
Yeah. So Nick's back, and for those that don't know, Nick unfortunately is out for the season, tore his Achilles before the season started. But Nick is a Raven, and Kevin is Locked On Ravens, covering the team, and they're both together. Both the same person,
same height,
same build.
We're basically the same, yeah. Everything.
Yeah, and then there's Zach, and then where is the rest of our crew here? Because we got a full house tonight, and there they are, Brad and Rocco.
Love this.
What up? What up?
What's up, guys?
Just having a fun time here.
Wouldn't miss a Ryan Ripken show for the world.
Oh,
crazy.
Do we really?
Yeah, that is wild. I'm surprised Rocco even still remembered the login.
Oh, he didn't. Well, welcome back, Rock. Brad, great seeing you as always. Hey guys, we got a kind of lot to talk about here, so we'll dive into it. Nick, I think you were getting the news about this coming down here. Dalvin Cook is where we're going to start this conversation, right? Because what's spicier than Dalvin Cook coming to Baltimore, released by the Jets, officially signing with the Ravens? And Nick, initial reaction.
I mean, I'm excited. I think he's a great player, right? Who wouldn't be excited for a guy like that to join the team? I did find out about it right when I got here about 30 minutes ago. So
I broke the news to Nick
yeah.
in the elevator. Yeah. Not only did I break you the news that the Ravens signed Dalvin Cook, you didn't even know the Jets released him.
I'm a little bit behind on some of that stuff. But no, I think it's great for us. I mean, add some depth to the running back position. He's a superstar talent, so I'm excited to see him play.
And Kevin, so walk us through a little bit, because we know exactly, and actually then we'll get reporter Rocco in a moment here to talk about it. But so Dalvin Cook essentially had his choices and chose Baltimore. Why?
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance for a Super Bowl. I mean, we all know it. The Ravens are in position to do that right now, and they signed him to the practice squad. He has an opportunity maybe to get called up over these next couple of weeks if they need it, but their depth is really good. I mean, Gus has been awesome all season. Justice Hill has provided a spark for him. It's not like they needed to bring in Dalvin Cook, but you always want to dot your I's and cross your T's and just make sure your roster is set. And this is, I think, a great move for the Ravens, especially when it comes to what Baltimore can do moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely, not saying that they needed it. They've proven Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, like we said, have played tremendously. Especially with the loss of Keaton Mitchell. And if you go back, obviously J.K. Dobbins being lost for the season. The Ravens just keep going, but we do know you do need some depth. Rocco, because you just had to work all the way around. Let's see if we can get Rocco in here for a moment. Talk to us, because you just had to jump in there. Pretty frantic scene, but it seems like people are very excited, though, about this. It's not necessarily maybe the sexy move that everyone wants this late in the season, but this is a guy that is still a talented player despite a tough season with the Jets.
No, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head right there, Rip. And this is a move that you see teams that are in contention for a Super Bowl make this late in the season, adding a veteran like Dalvin Cook, who just got released from the Jets. And Cook's agency, LAA Sports Entertainment Agency, it is the same agency that reps Zay Flowers and J.K. Dobbins. So they have their ties to the Ravens. Dalvin Cook, he just posted the picture with him and Zay Flowers on I like to call it Twitter too, Zach. I don't call it X either, but that's just me. But you look at Cook, and he's been buried on the Jets depth chart. And that might be the case as well here in Baltimore, but they're not going to sign him. Eric DeCosta is not going to make this signing if he doesn't feel like Dalvin Cook can truly help this team out. I just want to real quick go over some numbers here from this season, because I just put this up on our show compared to last. 15 games with the Jets compared to 17 last year with the Vikings. With the Vikings last year, he had 8 rushing touchdowns, 1,173 yards, 264 carries. This season, he's had 67 carries for 214 yards, no touchdowns. But you look at who the Jets have at running back, and he's not going to be the guy. They did pay him the money. They paid him that $6.3 million plus contract. But what Dalvin Cook can bring to the Ravens is an extra body, depth at the running back position, like Nick said. And I think this is a great signing for Baltimore and potential to work out. You get him for 3 games in the postseason, and he can kind of do his thing. I saw someone say that in the chat. Adit, like, that could be huge.
He was a 1,000-yard rusher last year. I mean, it's not, and he had, I believe, over 260 receiving yards, 10 total touchdowns. He was buried on the Jets team that kind of, after Aaron Rodgers went down, they wanted to give Breece Hall a bigger workload. They wanted to see what they had in the young guy. And I think I saw earlier, Jets had a bottom 5 offensive line this year. So it is hard. No one on the Jets besides Breece Hall was really doing anything. So I'm not too concerned. We might not even see him get activated. I mean, this isn't like a signing that he's coming in and being running back 1 this Saturday. It's going to take time. He's going to be here for insurance, and it's house money. I mean, if he sits on the practice squad, if he's Dalvin Cook, comes up and helps. If he's gets here and it's like, oh, maybe he doesn't have the same burst. Just on the practice squad. He doesn't have to be activated.
Yeah, we still have Melvin Gordon on our practice squad too. So he's still in the mix. I know some guys will probably get some opportunities this week with this game not really outside of it being the Steelers. You know, we've already kind of set ourselves in the playoffs with the number 1 seed in the bye. So it'll be interesting to see who gets the rock this weekend.
Yeah, you know, I want to ask you real quickly, Nick, because you're in the locker room. You see the every professional athlete, specifically football players. You know, it's a long year and you're getting beat up. We're in week 18, right? So your body has been through the ringer essentially with all this. So from a perspective on the running backs, because you see that, is this something that you think with the group that they have right now, that this is a comfortable spot for the Ravens? And I'm with you guys. Gus the Bus is running well, Justice Hill, everything, but it's a taxing toll to go through it. I mean, you can even allude to that a little bit more.
Yeah, I definitely think you're right with that. The playing running back in the National Football League, I couldn't imagine what that's like, because I get beat up playing long snapper, you know, and it's nothing compared to playing running back. So anytime you can add a guy of that caliber to the roster, gives you that extra depth. He can do a bunch of different things. He's kind of like a Justice Hill, can catch, can run, can pass block, and do all that stuff. So, you know, having him is huge. And then, like you said, I mean, guys, you know, Gus is playing really, really well this year, and Justice, both of them have been, you know, pretty serious injuries 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So anytime that they can maybe get a little bit of time off and in a game like this, and then have bye week next week, kind of get 2 weeks, potentially 3 weeks from game to game for them.
Yeah.
You know, that's just going to help them in the long run, because, you know, the goal is to win the Super Bowl. So whenever you get that extra time is great. So I think it's a great move by Eric, you know, bringing in a guy like Dalvin Cook. And if he is Dalvin Cook, he's Dalvin Cook, you know, and if he's not, then no harm, no foul. You know, it is what it is. But I think we can only get positives from that, and I'm excited for it.
It's like that mystery box. It's like Dalvin Cook could be anything. He could even be Dalvin Cook.
100%.
Like, it really is like that. You don't know what you're going to get, but it really could be just you got 1,000-yard back, and he's got, I think, less than 50 carries this year. So it's not like he's took on a big workload. So fresh legs for the playoffs are never a bad
67
thing.
carries this season, so a little more.
How many?
Right?
57?
67.
I'm just completely wrong.
So with that having the quote unquote fresh legs, the one question I have then, Kevin, for you upcoming here is with that, and Nick alluded to the fact that he's gonna have some time to get acclimated. It would have been really great to see him get in action here for this game to, you know, get your feet wet. But having 2 to 3 weeks to get used to a whole different offense ultimately might be the best move if he is going to play a part in this team in the postseason.
Yeah, it gives them buffer time. I mean, you're able to work, go in the locker rooms, be in the meetings, be around the team, and you don't have to have the pressure of playing a game early, and that's big. And rotations across the league, running backs it's big nowadays, where Gus isn't getting 25 carries a game, and then Justice is getting this. They all play a role. And I think with Dalvin, the fresh legs and fresh carries, to have that in a situation now where you have these couple of weeks to heal up, to rest up. I mean, no one's 100% healthy at this point in the season with football. You get just hit after hit after hit. So for Dalvin, he's going to be able to come in and make an impact. And again, you're right. He doesn't have to be relied upon as this 100-yard per game rusher or someone that comes in and has to take on this full workload and pressure of being a running back one at this stage, because the Ravens have that depth and they have the solid players to do it. So it's an exciting move because you don't have to rely on him, because you have so many other weapons, not only at running back, but I would say the entire offense has been clicking recently. We know that,
It's a lot of versatility. And by the way, Tone, I was wondering this exact thing. What does it mean if he ends up being Dalvin Cook? That's a Zachism. Yes.
It means that we're going to know if he's Dalvin Cook. I'm just going to put it this.
Analysis.
I know. Yeah, analysis. No, Dalvin Cook, you'll understand, is like, if we get his full potential, it's a guy that out of the backfield can make plays when you get him the ball in space, whether that's a handoff, screen play, just completely running a route out of the backfield. He is one of the most dynamic running backs we've seen in the league the past 5 years. And it is really funny because he is a 1,000-yard rusher last year. He was someone that a lot of people wanted over the offseason, and then he just got buried on the Jets depth chart. So if we can get a Dalvin Cook who can go off and get 50 to 60 yards a game, incredible.
Yeah, I think versatility is the key right there, right? Versatility, being able, because we're looking at Gus can catch the ball out of the backfield, but everyone knows him as the bus. He's going to be in between the tackles, run hard. Then there's Justice Hill, the third down back, can make things happen. And he can obviously, get goal line carries, but usually it's going to be Gus the bus in that standpoint. But Dalvin Cook does it all. Hey, for fun here, out of curiosity, because we never really get asked this question, Nick, or you probably never get asked this question.
I've never been asked this.
What would be your go-to touchdown celebration?
That is a great question. Depending on how I scored the touchdown, I would probably panic right when I got in the end zone. If it was like a scoop and score, I'm not really sure what I would do. My heart wants to say I would throw the ball all the way up to the top of the bleachers, but my bank account would say otherwise. So.
What's your dream? What's the scenario for you? What's the dream scenario?
Most realistic scenario for me is going down the field. For me, it would be lay the returner out, knock the ball loose, go pick it up, run over the returner, run it in for a touchdown. Do it twice, and get in the end zone. And then I would probably, join with the guys, maybe do something funny. We've never really practiced anything.
I could row the boat.
Yeah, I could see JT coming off the bench, JT9 trying to make an appearance off the bench. Stout would definitely be in there for sure. And we'd probably do some choreographed dance that we've been working on for 3 years now.
For that one moment, but you haven't started on that yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's you got to always have something in your arsenal just in case.
So do you guys the three of you? Are you okay, if one of us scores, this is what we're going with?
I cannot confirm nor deny those allegations. Let's just say if we ever score, it'll be fun.
I am so excited.
Now you have to do it.
I know.
There's been one long snapper touchdown in as long as I can remember it in all of football, and that was last year at Vanderbilt. The punter muffed the ball in the end zone, and the long snapper picked it up. And he muffed it. I want to say he was maybe on the 5 or 10, and they were fumbling around for the ball. Ball gets in the end zone. Long snapper ends up on top of it.
Still counts on the stats.
Yeah, and I saw him this summer. We did a little workout up in Nashville this summer at Vanderbilt, and I was it was a bunch of long snappers, and we're all so how was it? What was it like to score a touchdown? Because I've done it in practice in high school, but nothing real.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I just panicked. I couldn't believe I had the ball in my hands, and I'm standing in the end zone. I didn't know what to do. It's like that Ricky Bobby scene where he's I don't know what to do with my hands. And he just does that.
That was my point. What if is that the celebration? Someone's interviewing you and you just have the hands rise?
I mean, that would 100%. I would be like a deer in the headlights in that real time situation. I would probably.
I'm worried I would try to do the worm, and I can't do the worm. I think I would just panic. Yeah, be what do you do? And just automatically go to the worm, and it would look horrible.
Well, thank God we don't have to.
Are you
see what could happen?
I'm not Are you saying my chances of making the NFL are slim to none?
We hate to
There
break
is
it
a
to you.
chance.
Yeah,
We're
I
saying there's a chance, but it's pretty low.
Yeah.
And I apologize,
We're gonna have to
Austin, if I didn't give you the specifics that you wanted, but that was the best I could come up with.
gonna have to make the
Curiosity,
league.
Zach, have you ever watched Dumb and Dumber?
Yes.
So you actually know the quote then? So you're telling me that, like,
So you're
so
telling me
one,
there's a
like
chance.
1 in 100?
Yeah.
We're like one
Oh,
in
yeah.
a million.
I think if, I just start stretching every day and like somehow get insane athleticism overnight, I think there's a chance.
What position are you playing?
I would probably be like a jump ball wide receiver. I've caught one touchdown my entire life. It was in 8th grade, and it was the same thing. I've just panicked, and I knew the ball was coming to me. So 1 yard score, and I actually ran through the end zone because I was so scared that I wasn't in the end zone, even though we were on the 2-yard line. I ran 5 yards, caught it, and I didn't know if I was really in the end zone. So I looked like a dumbass just running through the back of the end.
You were like Forrest Gump, just ran. You just kept on
It was
running.
like a muddy field.
Yeah.
I just grabbed it. I was like, I don't know if I'm really in the end zone. I just ran out the back, and everyone's like trying to chase me, and I'm like, what's going on? And I realized it was my teammates trying to celebrate.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
The Ravens have had some pretty hype touchdown celebrations this year.
Yes.
Zay, I think that I haven't been at practice. I'm doing my own rehab and stuff, but I think they're choreographing these because like Zay's touchdowns, both Zay's really, Isaiah and Zay Flowers, and then Odell with his dances. They gotta be like, guys, come on, we're practicing these.
Did you hate the Flowers when he threw?
No. I mean, no, I didn't.
Because Lamar did not like it.
Yeah, Lamar hated that.
He probably thought it was a weak dance.
Yeah, it was just kind of tough.
Zay Flowers.
Not enough people
I
joined
liked
in.
it.
The bouquet.
Yeah, I
was
just
cool.
don't think it wasn't not enough people got involved. So it was just like he threw it back, and Odell was just standing there.
They did that. That was not on the same page. Let's be honest. That
Yeah.
one was not on the same page. But now it's got me thinking
The
about
San Fran ones were.
Ooh,
They were locked.
Yeah, no, they had Christmas.
They had practiced those for Christmas, and they were ready to go.
Oh, when Zay immediately went and stole the gifts, I was like, that wasn't last second thought.
No,
that was planned.
That is what a championship caliber team does. They choreograph so when they score, they know what they're doing at all times. And hopefully that continues into the postseason. We're going to dive more back into some Ravens discussion later in the show because that's what we do. But we have some other spicy topics for those that are tuning in. We got Locked on Ravens, Kevin Ostreicher in here. We have Ravens long snapper Nick Moore hanging out. We have
Guy who talks into a microphone, Zach Bollinger, hanging out as well.
He's a full-time talker.
Yeah, full-time talker,
All right.
part-time watcher.
you're a good kid. And we got Rocco and Brad behind. And there's Rocco. See, Rocco, we know. Brad,
Rocco, quick question. You ditched the tie pre-show. What was behind that?
I like to be free. I like to kind of let the chest.
You look great.
Ooh,
You
whoa,
look
I don't like
great.
to be,
Got really offended. I just was wondering. What
I'm not offended at all. I'm just
no,
saying.
it's okay. Yeah, no, I'm
Just
sorry.
saying. Wish I could wear a sweatshirt like you and a hat. It'd be nice.
Yeah, we're going to work
I'm
on dress code etiquette.
Yeah, we need to come up with the
Me and
I got some polls.
with a hoodie.
Oh,
gang.
we got polls.
We got polls, Brad. What we got before we move on to the next subject?
So the first poll I pulled out was while we were talking about Dalvin Cook. I asked if he is instantly better because he's on the Ravens versus the Jets, and literally not one person said no. So maybe that was a terrible
That's a
poll.
given, yeah.
There's a boost.
But I do have one that I think is going to be, and Nick, you can stay out of this if you want to, because I feel like it could be controversial. But it's I just asked about sitting Lamar. Like I said, is sitting Lamar Jackson this week versus the Steelers the right call? And I'm basing this off of 2019, right, where like everybody sat, when the Ravens had the 1 seed that year. So just a conversation that I feel like we could have when we circle back around the Ravens. But right now, 82% feel like sitting Lamar Jackson is a mistake. So
Mistake.
Well, we will dive more into that when we get into the Ravens discussion. As far as dress code, Joe, you know what? I think I look good in this shirt. Nick and I apparently almost
wore a black colored shirt, but I knew in the back of my heart that Ryan was going to wear it.
This is the second week in a row that Nick has worn like a super dope hoodie.
Oh,
thank you. We just got this one. I love this. Is my favorite one. It's black and slimming on camera.
He also has the underneath. He's wearing the controversial Daryl Worley.
You gotta show it.
Gotta show it. It's Lamar
almost-
Jackson in the FSU hat that Daryl
man.
Worley handed out. Lamar hated it.
Lamar was doing everything to get that out of the locker room.
That's awesome.
Oh, hell yeah.
Lamar Jackson's my quarterback.
That's amazing.
He is my quarterback. All right.
I love it.
We're putting that on IG.
Yeah, this is what we love. All right, we're going to dive back more into some Ravens discussion, but we got to go around some spicy topics that specifically are going to be NFL related for this one. One that's upcoming for me, and this is leading in from one spicy topic to the other. We know we also all watch the college football playoffs, and you saw Michael Penix Jr. light it up against Texas, and now everyone's thinking, well, wait a minute, could he be the number 1 overall pick? So we're going to go around and ask in a second, but let's talk about the team that's going to have the number 1 overall pick, and that is the Chicago Bears. And Justin Fields and the Bears have been playing pretty well. Surprisingly, they are possibly going to finish the season 8-9, the same record as the Green Bay Packers. If they win, it would knock the Packers out of the playoffs, I believe. And Justin Fields and the Bears are feeling really good. But the comments initially that I want to bring up, first off, Justin Fields was asked about what it was like going into play Green Bay. And it doesn't seem like, he doesn't mean to be offensive, but I don't think people in Green Bay are necessarily going to like this comment because they might think their town is a great place to visit. So we're going to play that real quickly for you. Just Justin Fields' comments on what the atmosphere in Green Bay is going to be like.
Do in Green Bay except watch football, but it's going to be a great environment for us to play in, and hopefully we have a great game and get the dub on Sunday.
So just like that, that's going to spark some controversy. And if you're the Bears and you win this game,
was that? Hold on, what was that noise?
It was.
Oh, sorry, that was my shaker bottle. That's on me.
Just sound like somebody's taking a leak in the background.
Blame for that, okay, bro?
We all made eye
I
contact.
gotta stay hydrated. I gotta stay hydrated. I barely heard it, and I was like, nobody heard that.
Then he looked over, and me and him were making eye contact.
Sorry. Back to it.
This was a terrible, terrible
You said
decision.
we were gonna have fun tonight. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no.
Ryan
Ryan
did
was
not.
against
Ryan did
having
not.
fun.
Oh.
I put that we had a fun show planned, and Ryan was like, "No fun tonight."
I mean, we're having a blast.
Yeah.
We're having a great time. Good
What a
times.
fucking
Well,
idiot.
who's having a good time though, even despite that half the verdict's not out on if Justin Fields is going to be the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. He's still going out and ball out. So he's having fun that they're playing better and he's playing better. And I just want to show a clip here. This touchdown to DJ Moore in their last game against the Atlanta Falcons. This is a dime. A little, hey, how you doing? That is money. It's so good. I'm going to play it again. Let's run the tape again. Right. Whammy.
In the snow too.
In the snow. He's got a cannon. He really does.
No, he does. I played with him 1 year at Georgia. He's got a really good arm.
Okay.
Oh,
So
Yeah, he's got a
whoa,
great arm.
Nick.
I
He's got a
forgot
great
about
arm.
that.
Nick.
My senior year at Georgia, Justin that was the controversial year where he was there and we were playing Jake Fromm. And yeah, I mean, I think Justin's super talented. He hasn't had necessarily as much success as I think people were hoping for him when he first got to Chicago. But they were in a rebuild kind of. I mean, they needed some pieces to add to their thing, and they get a guy like DJ Moore, and now, they were struggling at the beginning, but I mean, so we're
Everyone's struggling.
yeah. I mean, it's NFL is NFL for a reason, And I think Justin's kind of getting comfortable, getting in his own, and he's played the last like eight or 9 games has been unbelievable. So that's half the season, and if he can build on this going into next year, I don't think you do anything with him. I think you
Get
keep
him a Marvin
I
Harrison
agree.
Jr. type.
100%.
Exactly.
You get another wide receiver add with DJ Moore.
Yeah, wide receiver, offensive line. I think you're set there.
Yeah.
So this is the question what I want to bring up here. And I actually have the specific tweet that I wanted to mention, that Denver Broncos 365. So it's at Daily Broncos. And if I'm continuing to learn how to use this StreamYard, right? You guys ready to see a little shared screen action? Whammy, here we go. And so I still got it. All right. The caption right here is Michael Penix is the type of quarterback you don't draft and regret. Like Lamar Jackson, trust your eyes. Okay? So that's why I want to bring this up. And I will stop sharing the screen now, and we'll go back to the full screen, full panel. I'm really intrigued about the game in Chicago, with Chicago and Green Bay. I think Justin Fields, I personally want to see him stay. Take out the contracts aside. I think there's confidence there. He has playmaking ability. He's not going to be, we talked about last episode, he's not that, the quick read, get it out of your hands quickly, like we mentioned, like with Brock Purdy or some of the other quote unquote pocket passers, but he can extend plays. He can throw the deep ball extremely well. And you saw he can put some velocity on the football and make some dimes of throws like he has to DJ Moore. So, guys, Michael Penix is balling out right now. And I know the one thing that's being held against him is age. And that's the next thing I'm going to pick up. But, Zach, I'll start with you. Should Michael Penix be the quarterback? If there's going to be the first quarterback taken off the board, should it be Michael Penix Jr. over the other ones like Caleb Williams and Drake May?
No, it shouldn't. I mean, as much as I agree, Michael Penix should be a top 5 pick. I think he should be a top 3 pick. He's one of the top quarterbacks. If I would say he's top 2 quarterback in the draft, I just think Caleb Williams' talent is still just so like Caleb Williams does those things athletically as well, where he almost has a Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson effect where it's the wow factor. It's the how did he get out of that? He creates plays with his legs and can still find guys downfield. I think they're going to end up being pretty even in when it's all said and done, Williams and Penix. But like you said, the age thing does concern me. I think he turns 24 in a few months, 2 months. So, I mean, definitely an older quarterback, but I don't know. I would still go Caleb Williams.
Yeah, so before we even get going more, I want to bring Rocco on to give you, if Kevin and Nick need a second to think. But Rocco, we talked about this. The ages of quarterbacks for rookies going into their rookie season, that's kind of been talked about because not only is Michael Penix one of the oldest ones, I think he'll be 24, it's those injuries with him. But do you have I think you have the list, Rocco, of the other ages of quarterbacks.
I thought you had it. I thought that was a tweet you grabbed.
Well, I did, but I also, you know what? Spoiler alert, check the private notes, Rocco. Good kid, Rock. But anyway, I got it for you guys. This is why I'm here. All right. So Michael Penix Jr. is going to be 24. Caleb Williams, 22. Quinn Ewers is going to look like he's going to go back to Texas at the moment. He's 21. Drake May is 22. Then you have Bo Nix, 24, J.J. McCarthy, 21. So you get the point. It's just that the age of 24, Rocco, when we're looking at what some of these other young quarterbacks are doing, you know, across the NFL, there are starting quarterbacks in the NFL that are younger. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a big question mark that a lot of teams are looking at. But should that be overlooked? Because it should just be about your play on the field. And the reason why I bring this up, context, Justin Fields is 24 right now.
Mm-hmm. I think that's something, Rip, that GMs are definitely going to look at when it comes to, when it factors in. Michael Penix, his talent is unbelievable. Just like watching him, the eye test, if we're talking about not passing up on a guy and you're going to regret passing up on him if you do, he was throwing darts out there on the field, like pinpoint accuracy. The one touchdown late was just an absolute laser. And it was beautiful. As a football fan, that was amazing to watch. Now, I will say this. There's going to be some recency bias there from us and from everybody currently watching Michael Penix and what he's doing, because Caleb Williams isn't playing. He didn't play in his ball game. His season's over, and he's waiting. He's working right now. The age, it could definitely play a factor. Like, to answer your question, of course, because GMs are going to look at that. But the talent's there, man. I don't think this is a guy that should go outside of the top 10 picks. I think he is a surefire top 10 pick and should be. His talent's there. He can get it done, and he's a winner. So it'll be interesting to see what he does in the national championship game against Michigan and how he approaches that defense. And then we'll probably have this conversation again. But right now, I would agree with Zach. Caleb Williams, he's probably going to be the first quarterback taken, and I believe he should be, but Michael Penix shouldn't be too far behind.
So then that leads kind of Nick, because you've been in locker rooms with guys, and from talent that you realize as players so tremendous, but also leadership. Right now when I look at Michael Penix Jr. or Big Penix Energy, as Desmond Howard would say on College Game Day, electric. There's something to that mentality when you have a quarterback that you gravitate towards. And you see it here in Baltimore, but is that something that NFL teams should consider when they're picking the franchise quarterback for they hope it's going to be the next decade.
I definitely think they do. I wasn't sold on Penix just because they play in the Pac-12 and they're not typically known for having really good defenses. I know he lit it up, but there was 3 or 4 or 5 other quarterbacks in that conference that lit it up as well. But after watching him this past weekend or on Monday against Texas, against the defense that was top 10 in the country in several different categories, and then they also handled Alabama at Alabama, and they were pretty much dominant in the Big 12. I think Michael Penix definitely boosted himself and put himself in a conversation that Caleb Williams, part of your job as a quarterback is to win football games, especially at this level. I mean, guys get criticized all the time for what's Lamar's knock. He doesn't win in the playoffs. Like he doesn't win. It's the quarterback that doesn't win. And you were preseason number 3, I think, at USC, and then they finished 7-5 and barely got into a bowl game at the end of the year. Lost to Arizona and some other teams that weren't very good. Not to say that Caleb Williams isn't still the most talented quarterback in college football, but Michael Penix was throwing some absolute dimes. And he did in the Oregon game in the Pac-12 championship too, against Bo Nix, who everybody thought he was a shoo-in winning the Heisman with all all he did this year at Oregon. And Michael Penix goes in there and outplays the guy that everybody thought for sure was going to win the Heisman at that time anyway. And I'm like, what more do you want? Yeah, he's 2 years older than Caleb Williams, and he's older than some of the guys in the league. I get it. But Tom Brady played till he was 45. Not saying he's going to play till he's 45. That's an awkward comparison. But even A-Rod's 40, 39. Matt Stafford's got to be, 37, 38, 36, something like that.
Joe Flacco's 39.
Yeah, guys are playing till 40, nearing 40, especially as much as they're protecting the quarterback with how much they can get hit, where they can get hit, how hard they can get hit. They can't even get landed on anymore.
Yeah.
So this is, 2 years isn't, to me, it's not that big of a deal.
Stafford's 35.
Okay, so yeah.
Just found out me and him have the same birthday.
Oh,
we're
nice.
wow.
Hey, congrats, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. Oh my God, thank you.
Really
guys.
good. Really good.
Thank you.
This is the argument that I've actually been trying to make since we actually talked about Caleb Williams being the number 1 overall pick earlier in the season, and it really kind of came on the heels of how Caleb Williams actually loses. So I thought that you brought up a good point, Nick, as far as quarterbacks that win, and Michael Penix Jr. is that guy who just keeps winning, and his maturity level I think also plays a factor when it comes to GMs, and we've seen kind of like these outlandish emotional reactions from Caleb Williams, and you have to wonder, right? Like if you're a GM putting your GM cap on, you have to wonder, like, what are your leadership qualities going to be? Is it going to be all about you because of the way that we've kind of seen him display himself on and off the field? Do those things come into play, and are they cause for concern? And for me personally, I would rather have a guy like Penix who plays his ass off, and then also kind of shows that leadership and doesn't really react with so much emotion that it's becoming a distraction. That's kind of where I'm coming from on the whole situation.
Yeah, the other part that I was thinking about, and actually there's another quarterback that came on the scene later. Yes, he didn't have the injury history, but he led one of the best college teams, arguably the best college team in the history, and especially people with down south would think so in Louisiana. But Kevin, you have an idea of which quarterback I'm referring to?
Mr. Joe Burrow himself.
And Joe Burrow, I believe, was 23, 24.
Yeah, I think he was definitely older.
Yeah.
So
he's old because he's older than Lamar Jackson.
Correct. So he's 27 right now. He's drafted in 2020. Mm-hmm. So when we're looking at this, right, it was 2020. I'm not losing my mind.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
2020.
So Kevin, we're talking about this, and Joe Burrow completely changed the franchise for the Bengals.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about teams drafting quarterbacks, I mean, it is such a big decision. Like there's so much that goes into it. And I think sometimes teams can just, 1, overlook things, but 2, I think that sometimes they try to play it safe in their mind, when in reality, they should just take the guy that's the best fit. And I see a good comment about Michael Penix here from Alan, that he thinks Penix is closer to his prime than some of the other quarterbacks and could win earlier in the right situation. Some of those throws that we saw against Texas, those were NFL throws.
Yeah.
Those were times.
Absolutely.
And so when you look at like the landscape of what these teams are, a team that I've talked about forever is the Falcons have like they have Bijan and Drake London and
So
Kyle
much
Pitts.
talent.
They need to
So
use
much
You
that
get him
talent
a
somewhere.
quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And so could that quarterback be Michael Penix? I think in the right situation, Michael Penix can thrive. But again, it's like what we've talked about this with Lamar, or what if Lamar doesn't go to Baltimore? The Ravens believed in Lamar and they trust Lamar and they change their entire system, their entire offense for him. I think that Michael Penix is someone where you can plug in and he can perform. But I think a spot like Atlanta would be really good for him just because of where he is in his career right now. And I wouldn't play this. I think if you're looking at injuries and looking at the age, it's a factor. I'm not saying it's not, and I think it should be. But yeah, we just talked about it. Guys are playing later, and I think that if you're going to discount a guy and knock his grade down half a round or a full round because of that, I think that's not fair to him because you're potentially losing out on that potentially generational talent just because of things that are factors, but I don't think should be as big factors moving forward.
I agree. I agree with that. And that's the part of it. At the end of the day, it's can you have a quarterback that you think is going to push your team to the next level? It doesn't matter with the age. I get it. Maybe it's not with Brandon Weeden when the Browns took him and there was a significant age gap. We're talking about
that was
crazy. talk about
Yes.
age.
That was crazy. Now that
That's
was the
something
Browns.
different.
That was the Browns. That
He was what,
we
30
can-
years old?
He was like 20. He was 28
or
years old.
something, yeah.
And the Browns. That was the Browns being the Browns.
Well,
That was-
Zach, what did we say? Zach, what did we say earlier?
yeah, it was teams took. What we were talking about.
Teams took a chance on Brandon Weeden. I think that's what I said.
Yeah.
And then what did you say?
I said no. Teams did not take a chance on Brandon Weeden. The Browns took a chance on Brandon Weeden. There's a massive difference when we're talking about.
Yeah, he was the oldest player ever taken at 28 years old.
I just.
Crazy.
I will say Caleb Williams crying in his mom's arms after that loss to Brad was like, on draft day where they have to ask Callahan why none of his teammates showed up to his birthday party. And like, that's the big thing. Like, we can't draft him because his teammates hate him. Like, Brad saw Caleb Williams crying in his mom's arm and he was like, undraftable. That was it. He was like undraftable.
It wasn't even just it was that, and then he continued to cry.
Well, it was when he said that he wanted to go home and cuddle with his dog. Brad was disgusted. He was like, "You should be in the film room after that loss."
Yeah, Brad forever is out on Caleb Williams being the number 1 overall pick, but someone's going to take him. Talented player,
for sure.
But at the end of the day, the goal is to win games. The goal is what's up, Rock.
So since he's drawing, his name gets brought up with Mahomes, Caleb Williams, he's getting a lot of those comparisons and whatnot. I do want to say this: winning in college or losing in college doesn't necessarily always translate to the NFL, depending on the situation. And I wanted to look up Mahomes' record in college at Texas Tech. And I know it's Texas Tech and USC. They're two completely different programs, and the expectations were so high for USC this year. People were talking about them like they were going to be a national championship team. But I just want to put this out here. Mahomes' record in college was 13-19. His best season in Lubbock came in 2015 when Texas Tech went 7-5 in the regular season. So I'm just saying.
So, but also at least with Patrick Mahomes is that he went to the best possible situation that he could.
Yeah.
You went to the team that has arguably the best offensive head coach in the NFL, offensive mind, and then also got to sit behind a very solid veteran quarterback in Alex Smith and help develop him.
Might not be a bad idea with Caleb.
Yeah. So, but that's the part is the number 1 overall pick. It's going to be a team that's desperate and you better have the right pieces in place. Now, if it is Chicago, these next moves, we'll find out. We'll dive more into that, but we wanted to bring it up because it's context. And as we know, finding a franchise quarterback is so damn hard. We talked about it last show about number 1 overall picks over the last the 10 number 1 overall picks as quarterbacks. It's pretty uneven when you look at the number of if it's panned out with them with their specific team or teams had to restart right after them. Now, for those that are new to the show, thank you. Hello. Welcome to the Ryan Ripken Show. For those that are coming back, thank you for being here. Excuse me. As Zach likes to remind me, I'm Ryan Ripken. The show is named after me.
Show is named after him. I took me a while to figure out who it was named after, but glad we figured it out.
And then we got Locked On Ravens, Kevin Ostreicher talking right back there. And then we have Nick Moore, Ravens. Ravens long snapper. And we're going to dive into a lot more of the discussion with the Ravens here soon. So stick around. We're almost to that part of the program. And that's all I got for right now. But why don't we hear about someone else that we're pretty passionate? I'd say we're pretty passionate people.
I'm so excited to listen to this.
This is
so electric.
And actually, Brad, do you want to do the poll before we get into our next video?
Sure. So we'll probably cover this again. I don't want us to get too distracted, but I thought it was an interesting conversation we can have when we get to around the NFL piece. I said, let's just say we leave the Ravens out of the Super Bowl. Who would you rather see face each other? I put Lions versus Browns, which would be,
that's why everyone's all fired up.
Yeah. Lions versus Browns.
Brad.
Hold on. Lions versus Browns, 49ers versus Chiefs, Dolphins versus Eagles, Rams versus Houston are the potential matchups in the Super Bowl.
What was the Dolphins matchup?
Wait, yeah, I didn't hear.
Dolphins, Eagles.
Dolphins, Eagles. You said Rams and
Houston.
Oh, and then,
Lions, Browns.
I mean, I think Lions Browns would be electric. Dude.
Like Joe Flacco,
those two cities need like something. They
would be
the
the
Super Bowl.
it would be the only two NFL franchises that have ever gone 0-16.
Wow.
Make sure
Battle
we
of the
clip that
Ages.
from Nick
They're
with no
both
context.
nasty right
He wants
now.
the Lions and Browns in the Super Bowl.
Definitely don't put that on there.
No context whatsoever.
100%. I want them to win the Super Bowl. But take that aside. We've already won the Super Bowl. This is like the supplemental Super Bowl.
Right. Nick's gonna get a text from some guys like, "Hey, Nick, we want to talk about your commitment to the team."
No,
Ravens PR is about to blow up our phones.
Brad.
Hey, I need to see what
Yeah.
you this morning.
Hey, Brad, can we get the graphic up, get Nick's face up there, and get the quotes? I want the Browns and Lions.
No, this is the third place game.
This is the third. This is battle for really second place.
It's like the World Cup. Then it's the team. You have the third place game, and then the teams are playing for the championship, the final, and then for World Cup. And now it's in American football, not actually football internationally. I know that's a whole different thing. All right, let's get into
the Lions.
I'm kind of in Nick's camp here, just because the Lions haven't won a championship in 66 years. And the Browns, I think, was like,
ever.
I don't know, 57 or something like that.
Oh,
Well, both of them were pre Super Bowl era.
Pre-merger.
Pre-merger, right.
They don't count. They don't count.
Right.
No Super
So like that would be like an insane. I mean, Lions haven't won a playoff game since 1991. So I mean, there is some
all right.
That's all I'm saying.
All right, let's get into the.
How do you delete
All right.
that?
We're not even gonna go there. We're not even gonna go there.
Get it out.
No,
What is that question?
I don't understand that question.
Welcome back to the chat.
I just saw it.
All right, we're talking about something
This
that's
is the Ryan
passionate.
Ripken show, everybody.
Oh my goodness.
Ryan Ripken, boys.
Ryan Ripken.
Unbelievable.
So Dan Campbell.
So Dan Campbell.
Jesus Christ.
So Dan Campbell, welcome to the chat, everyone. Welcome to the show. Dan Campbell's a passionate guy. We figured that out, right? He's a fiery, passionate coach, and he lives and dies by going for it on fourth down, no matter the circumstance, right? That's what made the Lions them. The team believes exactly what he does. I mean, there's a belief, but they did lose that game against the Cowboys for a lot of different reasons. Dan Campbell went on the radio show to talk about that 2-point conversion after it was pushed back to the 7-yard line, and the reaction from the radio station, because usually radio hosts will be a little bit more, let's just say, graphic or a little bit more animated if the coach wasn't on the air with them. And Dan Campbell wanted to remind them, no, just be yourself and tell me how you see it. So let's play that for him, Brad.
After that play, you had said, you told the offense, you're going for 2 on the final drive if you score. But from the 7, I mean, and looking back, like, was there a point of no return where you lay down your sword and kick the extra point? Do you regret at all the decision to go for it from the 7?
Yeah, I told our offense, I think I said this before, and we're going for the win. And we're going to go down, we're going to score, and we're going for 2. And I wasn't coming off of that.
So if it was like 10 or 15, like a holding penalty, you still would have gone for it?
No, if we're getting outside the 10, no.
Okay, that's why I'm
walk
asking.
outside
Yeah,
the 10 every week, good
Looks
on
like this is
good.
real.
We do it every week. O versus D.
Yeah, like when you got the penalty and
Go
moved it
ahead,
to
go
the.
ahead and say it. Say it. Both of you.
What?
Say it. Say what you want to say.
I think from the 7, it's a low percentage play. I think your chances of winning are lower than if you kick the extra point.
I would've-
say
I
it
would've-
like you would say it to anybody else. I'm on the radio. Say it like you want to say it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a reckless decision.
Thank you.
Okay, but you don't regret it.
No.
I fucking love that.
was
Just say it.
Just say it. Oh, I'm on the radio. Just say it like you would anyone else. And I thought it was reckless. Thank you.
Yeah, but you know what? And now that was the part is thank you for
Thank
telling
you.
me what you feel. But that's how Dan is, right? And that's why people love him.
Mhm.
He is so intense, but also he's don't sugarcoat this. Don't bullshit me. Tell me how you see it. And if you're going to say it without me on it, you might as well just say it while I'm here. And he handled it well. Other coaches we know can get controversial, but Nick, I mean, Dan Campbell, he is locked into how he feels, and that is an intense individual. I mean, you spent time with him.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, I've spent a little bit of time with him, a couple months down in New Orleans. I love it. I think he's done great for Detroit. I think he's brought a lot of fire back to that football team, and they're having an unbelievable season this year. Going forward from the 7, I'm not the coach, so I think from a player's I think from a player's perspective, you want to win when you make that decision, hey, we're gonna go for it. And he's right. We practice inside the 10 all the time, 1-on-1 or good on good, and we got to execute that. It's not. You have a little bit more room from the 7 than you do from the 2. Obviously, you're closer at the 2-yard line. I understand that. But he condenses down some of the routes, makes everything happen a little bit quicker. There's a lot more congestion in the middle. It makes it's hard. I mean, scoring from the 2, if you're going to pass the ball for one play, it's very difficult. So backing it up to the 7, it kind of opens up some of the routes, frees up the middle a little bit, and you have arguably equal or better chances of getting it in. I don't know the statistics on it, but I think, in that situation, I love going forward when we do that here all the time. I mean, not from the 7-yard line, but we saw in 2021. I mean, we lost 2 games in a row because or two games there in that second stretch that we tried to go for 2 to win the game and we lost. So I'm all for it, dude. Win the ball game.
No, I like.
Nobody wants overtime. Just fucking.
I
win
will
the game.
say,
you held back fuck right there. Yeah, win the fucking game. Go ahead,
just
Zach.
fucking win the game. I mean, you guys have the momentum. We did that against the Packers. Obviously, it didn't work out for us. But it's Snoop as basically a rookie against fucking Aaron Rodgers. We don't want overtime. Win the ball
one
game.
play
and just
one
win
play
the
for the
game.
win.
Yeah.
No, I completely
our
agree
best
there.
versus your best. We're gonna win.
Mhm.
And
Don't
if it
play
doesn't
scared.
work out, you can't. It is what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, it is, you have to, they did it twice from the 7 because then there was another penalty, or did they get a penalty to move them back up to the 2?
It was a penalty to move it half the distance back because it was offsides, but you
Yeah.
can't make it a 5-yard penalty, so it's half the
Yeah,
distance
half the
back to it. So, but yes.
But I will say that was interesting when you put it about it. I hadn't thought about how it does open up the field and could potentially be easier, especially if you're going to pass it either way.
It's different if it's like 1st and goal from the 2.
Yeah.
You got 4 plays to run the ball. But when you're 1 play to score to win the game, you got to put your best play out there. A lot of times that's a pass play. It becomes very congested and very tight, and it happens so very quickly, a lot faster at the 2-yard line. And that's a guy who's not, I don't play offense, but I did scout team, back in the day, and that shit happens quick on the 2. I mean, you got to get the ball out now or dudes are in your face. And with us, with a dynamic quarterback, Lamar can make stuff happen, but it is harder than it looks from the 2-yard line. I don't think people understand quite the concepts are different at the 2 versus from the 7.
I mean, it makes sense. It does make sense from a spacing standpoint. I think in general, people realize it's just hard to score when you get down there. And also if you're going to be more limited. When you push it, I mean, I guess the only thing that I'd argue is when you're at the 2-yard line, the possibility to run or pass is an option. When you're at the 7, it's like, well, you are the ballsiest coach. If Dan Campbell said from the 7, running back draw, that's bold, right? Or any type of running play.
Yeah.
So like I think that's just the element of surprise. That was the word. Kevin, I was looking for element of surprise. That's what I was looking for.
I think if you
it's
took
a
a
good point.
poll, sorry, I don't mean to
No,
cut
you're good.
anybody off here, but I think if you took a poll from all 32 offensive coordinators on what is their number one go-to, gotta win the game, 2-point conversion, I would venture to say 30 teams are going to say pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a
Yeah.
pass play. Might even be all of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would think
Like
it's
if it's a must-win situation, it's
Mhm.
going to have to be a pass.
And not
Yeah.
every team has Gus Edwards. I mean, you can just
No.
pound it in from 2 yards. Not every team has
No, but your chance. I mean, dude, it's hard enough
Yeah.
to run the ball in open
Yeah,
field for 2
yeah.
yards in the NFL, let alone for a must-win
Mhm.
situation.
when they know that you're 2 yards away from the win.
Yeah.
And they're putting
Everything.
6 guys,
Yeah,
6 big ass dudes on the front line.
Yeah.
It's not like they're putting,
No.
they're not in the nickel
does.
out there.
No.
They're not putting these like safeties up at the line. It's like
Absolutely.
300-pound linemen there to stop you from getting those 2 yards. They
Well-
do not. A team would rather you throw it in to win it than be like, yeah, they just ran it up the mill for 2 yards.
yeah,
and
because
won.
it sounds way worse when you're like they just ran down our throat.
Yeah, like they,
Two-point
they
conversion,
just got
and we
the ball,
lost.
ran
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
halfback dive, and now we lost. Like,
Yeah.
Well, and also if you look at the college football semifinal, Alabama, Michigan
oh,
ran it
that's
on
right.
ran it from
That's
the
right.
3, right? And
That was a
everyone's
bad
like,
snap.
and
That
they
was a
go,
bad
Apparently,
snap.
it was
It was
a
a-
botched.
Yeah,
I
it was
had
a bad
some-
snap. It was
Yeah,
a bad
Some
snap.
inside intel. Apparently, it was a run pass option.
Mhm.
Play got botched because the
Yeah.
snap was bad. And that poor center, dude.
He had
I
a
guess he
rough-
already hit the portal.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, it was either hitting the portal or you were never going to play football again
Yeah.
because
I
they've
heard
had so many
he-
issues with him all year.
Yeah, that's what I didn't.
It cost
realize
them
that was-
it almost cost them against Auburn when he
Yeah,
snapped it.
that's right.
Oh
He
my
snapped it when he
God.
wasn't looking, and or it was high or something.
Yeah.
And that was the play that set up the
Mhm.
touchdown that won the game at
I
Auburn.
completely forgot that
And they
that
were-
was the
dude,
play before.
It's like Jalen Hurts talks about it with Jason Kelsey. Jason snaps the ball really fast because he's like, I'm trying to. They talk about it on their little sit down. He's like, I try to get the ball out quick because I got a block. Jalen Milrose is doing the same stance because he has no idea where the ball is going.
Mhm.
And it's one thing if it's fast and it's going to be in this general vicinity every
Yeah.
time, but like that ball's on the ground, it's over his head, it's left, it's right. I mean, it just
And then you have to
yeah.
think, okay, where's the ball going? And then it's grab the ball and now execute, get your reads, so that just throws everything off.
All that time though, when you have an option like that,
Mhm.
the option's gone
Yeah.
because it's you don't like you've lost track of this guy
Mhm.
or it had already happened and you're like too late for it. So it's unfortunate because I don't like that play call. I think the
Yeah.
commentators were talking about Jalen has the run throw option because he's such a threat, and I totally agree. And I think doing it again, if the snap is good, it's a totally different situation. But tip your cap. The kid was trying to make a play.
Mhm.
When things went south, and unfortunately, it didn't work out for Bama.
yeah, it did not work out for Bama. Now Michigan's finally breaking through the final, and we'll touch on that as that gets closer as well. And for just to wrap up again here, we just were talking about some spicy topics. So if you're new to the show, welcome in. We are about to get into our Ravens segment now. We've talked a lot about the spicy topics around the NFL specifically. And if you are also listening to this, or if you want to listen to this, if you're in the car, we are on Apple and Spotify, by the way, but obviously we are on this YouTube channel at Ryan Ripken Media. We do this twice a week. Come by, come hang out, come deal with who we're dealing with on a normal basis. But hey, Zach, I think it's time we got to take a little ride.
Let me ride in front of the Jeep. Jeep.
front
Yeah,
of
we
the
got
Jeep.
the new sponsorship
Banner.
Yeah, banner. I was gonna say big poster, but
Definitely,
No, the
that's
banner.
definitely
So
also I want to just point out, I'm gonna throw Ryan under the bus here. Listening to Ryan on the phone try to put this banner up, I was expecting to walk in here and this was gonna be like 60 feet by 60 feet. I walk in, it took me maybe 30 seconds by myself to put this up. Ryan was like, yeah, I'm gonna need your help. This is we
Not
got
all of us are
a
good with our
monster.
hands,
I
okay?
literally walk up and I just stick it on thing. I was like, okay, has it been sticking? He's like, give it a minute, it'll fall. And
it's still standing.
yeah, now
Are
we're
those
half
just
an hour.
command hooks that stick on
Yeah.
the wall? Yeah.
And I was just like, well, why don't you put more than two sticky things? He's like,
Yeah, there's 4 holes up there.
yeah. So we got it up. That's all.
It looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. But Adams Jeep of Maryland, proud sponsor of the Ryan Ripken Show, have a lot more going on with them in the future. And actually just wanted to share this because I think it was fun. Went up there for a second, and we're getting closer to baseball season, right? And for people that know, I have the baseball background. I played professionally. My family played a little bit of baseball growing up, so I have an idea a little bit about what was going on. But I was up there, and I wanted to just share this real quickly because I think it's a awesome, badass Jeep. There we are. That is an Orioles Jeep. And that's actually for sale, by the way.
Yeah, someone buy this Jeep.
Wow.
This is incredible.
Is that Cal Ripken Jr. in that picture?
Yeah, that Cal Ripken
You're damn right it is. You're damn right.
That Jeep is sick, though.
Dude,
I saw your post right before I came down here. That Jeep is so cool.
And then it's got the Orioles decal on the side. It really is.
Someone buy this and let me drive it.
Well, so yes, we got a lot planned, but they are great. And honestly, if you want anything done, service parts, they have an Ironman one that they've done. An Ironman, a Stormtrooper, places if you need to get your Jeep fixed, and they last for a while. Brad's been riding his Gladiator up and down the East Coast like 300,000 miles. It feels like how long he's been doing it. So just wanted to shout them out. What's up?
Still haven't seen it, Brad.
But that's not my fault.
I know it's
don't
on
know
me.
how.
It's on me.
We know.
Like,
Yeah, it's because you're
Brad's
oblivious.
Jeep is really.
Is that a
sick,
what?
though. I will vouch
You're
for it.
oblivious.
Yeah.
It's probably the nicest thing you've ever called me, honestly.
Well, that's
Yeah.
maybe.
Probably.
He usually
All
goes
right,
with
guys.
dumbass.
Yeah, it all circulates. Anything that's bad is probably directed at Rocco. But hey, Ravens, where do we want to start here? Where do we want to start? Maybe actually that the Ravens had that big win. And so the excitement going on the field, maybe we'll get it behind the scenes. And Nick, I don't know if you've heard this yet, but Brent Urban was pretty mic'd up for that game. And I know I've dealt with what he's using, by the way. So I just, maybe not the reaction I've usually had, but let's take a listen to that, Brad, because it was inspiring to say the least.
Ah! Run! Ah! Oh, yeah. Ah! Ah! Hey, Ron! Ron, let me see that. Ah! I'm good. Oh, ah. One more time, baby. One more time. Ah!
It ain't done yet. We getting there. We getting there.
All right. He's
what the
Electric. Nick, take it away. Nick, take it away.
Okay. I love that. First of all, that's Ron Schrift. He's one of our strength coaches, and he does my workouts with injury. And I thought that was absolutely hilarious because I know Ron, personally, obviously, and that was just hysterical. And Brent is funny as all get out.
He was doing it with Brent.
Yeah,
That
and
was the funny part.
and that's a strength coach for you, dude. That's what they're there for. They're hype men. They're the get back guys. They're the hype men, and they're the Epsom salt or the smelling salt guys. And I mean, you got to get fired up, dude.
Yeah.
You have to. And
It's
that
the NFL.
and that game is particularly the more it was going on, the more hype everyone's getting, and the more you're like, oh, it's my turn. Like everyone's getting in on some. Let me get some too. And I love it. I think that was so cool.
Hey, Kevin, curiosity. Have you ever smelled?
No, but
smelling
you know
salt?
what? We can do it
Oh my God.
Oh.
Let's do it live.
Let's all
on
do
the
it
show.
live. I haven't done them in a long time, so I'm all for it.
Did you scream at the camera as well, or scream out every time you did it?
I don't
or
think
no?
I don't think you have a choice but to.
Yeah,
'cause
you have to scream.
It stings, bro. It stings.
Well, I know it stings, but do you like? It's a yell. Like those are
This is the NFL. Yes, you yell.
You got to let it out, dude. You got to let it out.
Well,
Oh, Kevin.
Brent was going like he was doing like 1, 2, and then boom. Like
There's
then-
also probably like 7 smelling salts in that container.
Yeah, I was gonna
So it's like it's not like you're just using one. It's like you got a dozen of them put in there, and it's all just hitting you right in the mouth. And
Yeah.
Well, I'm in
Brent
for it,
Urban was
apparently.
definitely hyped up
Oh, yeah.
to go out there. I love
Oh,
that
yeah.
he was mic'd up.
Hey, you gotta have that energy, right? You have to have that energy and that passion, and whatever way gets you going. And the Ravens were fired up on Sunday. Obviously, clinched #1 seed. We've talked about this in the past. Really great for them, and that has led to a lot of conversation. To be honest, is it saying the team's clicking at the right moment? Is it the fact that guys are kind of getting, relatively have stayed healthy? Is that the other part? Or maybe hear me out, guys. Maybe it has to do with one specific tweet that came out. I don't know, Zach, because you know this story better than me, but it's one word.
Johnny.
So for those to give the context of this, there was a riddle on an IQ test, so to speak. And actually the Baltimore Banner ran an article today with Zach, because Zach is the reason why it's around this. The IQ question, the correct answer for who is Johnny's, fifth sibling, the answer was
98% of people fail.
So explain this a little bit. So you stalked Lamar's tweet then, and then you commented underneath Lamar's answer, which was Johnny.
So he tweeted out at like 8 p.m. London time. It was one of those things where Ravens were 3-2. There was a little worry in the air. It was like, okay, what's going on? New system for the offense. Okay, how's everyone going to go together? Is OBJ going to be OBJ? So there were all these questions, and then it's like, okay, the fan base is stressed out. There's all this, like, not fear, but just like everyone's on edge. And then you have Lamar Jackson, your star quarterback, future 2-time MVP. He's responding to a stupid screenshotted like Facebook meme from 2003. And it was just kind of that moment of like, it's okay. Like Lamar's got, he's calm. He doesn't care. And the way I actually put it on Twitter today, and I actually feel really bad. I wish I would have given this quote to them yesterday for the banner, because I said it and I was like, that was kind of cold. But it really has become like the Ravens like community on Twitter, like the Hakuna Matata. Like, it's Lamar's Johnny era. Like means no worries. Like Lamar's got us.
So, hey, Nick, have you heard about this, by the way?
We talked about it last time I was on last week. I don't know much about it. I'm not on Twitter.
Yeah, we know that. Well, so we're wondering if more guys know about this, because then the Baltimore Banner, your traction, Kevin, you did a tweet about from The Shining with Jack Nicholson's knocking his head through.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I found it. I was floating around. I saw it from Garnet West, and I put it out, but it's become this huge thing. Yeah. Like everybody talks about it, and now whenever Lamar does something, whenever he does something well, it's just Johnny. And I think it's like the inside joke of Ravens Twitter or whatever.
Yeah. And actually, I think that's the funniest thing, is because when they called me to do the story yesterday, they actually said to me, they're like, we really don't know why this is like a thing. And actually there were other newspapers reaching out to them like, hey, what's the deal on this Johnny thing? And they were like, we're kind of trying to figure out the same thing. Like, we're just as confused. So then they called me to give the backstory. And, I've said it in the interview and stuff, but really the coolest thing about it, like, seeing it on Sports Center, seeing it on ESPN, made it over in Canada. But it really is. It's really cool to help show and help tell the story of how incredible Lamar has been this year, especially the last 10, 11 games where, yes, it's a joke, the whole Johnny thing, and it's just super random and funny, but it does help show just how dominant and just how good he's been and why he's the MVP.
Yeah, and so to that point, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, the Ravens have lost one game since the Johnny response.
Yeah, there was the Browns, and that was it. Yeah. They've won 8 of, they've scored 30 plus in 8 of the last 10. The offense has been cooking. Yeah. And, Zach's right. It's not just it's fun to say the Johnny thing like it's a funny little thing, but the reality is the Ravens offense has figured it out.
100%. Yeah. You put up 59 on the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I even said in the thing, it's like, this is like, it is cool seeing myself as like the face, like when I see my face on Sports, but at the same time, it's like Lamar Jackson's the star of everything. And that's what I really like that is highlighted in all this, is like, it's a funny thing, but it just shows how dominant he's been. So, if those tweets have shown anyone that hasn't really followed the Ravens this year just how good Lamar's been, then hey, we did it. That was worth it then.
Yeah, and it's a fun story. If we have another conspiracy theory, it's that Joe Flacco was reading from a fan saying that he was going to be replaced, and the note was from a letter from Johnny, the future quarterback, taking over for you. And
it was like creepy. And I got to give credit. I think on tour Baltimore Beak found it, and
shout out him.
Yeah, shout out. And literally, like, it's so creepy. It's like, I'm gonna take your spot in 6 years, and it was like in 2016, so 6-7 years ago. So it is just so creepy.
Joe
now,
was like, I hope I'm still playing by then. I
Yeah.
hope I'm still starting by then. And
now he is. So it's just
look,
everything. It's one of those weird things where like there's a glitch in the system, and you're like, this wasn't supposed to happen. Like they were showing, like it was just telling, like, yeah, no, it's all the Matrix.
Yeah, it's. I guess we'll find out. If you believe in that stuff, a lot of people do, and a lot of people don't. But I will tell you what you can believe in, and that is that the Ravens, they're the number one team in the AFC. That's no secret. But they also had a lot of Pro Bowl selections too, by the way, and rightfully so. Yes, there were some snubs. And I think on a lot of levels, and I think, Rocco, if you're going to pop back in here for a second, it's exciting, and I want you just to layer through, because one in particular, weren't sure, but obviously deserving because he's the greatest at what he's done so far in his career.
Yeah, you see a bunch of the first timers. You see the Justin Madubuike, Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum, Patrick Queen. And you got Lamar with 3, Roquan Smith with 2. And then at the top of that list is Justin Tucker with 7. This is his 7th Pro Bowl selection, and what he's done over the course of his career. And there were questions this season. Oh, is it a down year for Justin Tucker? Just throw them out the way. It's statistically, you might think it might be a down year for Justin Tucker, but it's not. This dude, day in and day out, is the greatest kicker of all time. He's the greatest kicker in the NFL, and it's a no-brainer to send him to the Pro Bowl. But they don't want to be in the Pro Bowl. But to that, talking about Justin Tucker, Nick, I wanted to ask you this, man. This guy, he's got a Super Bowl already. He's got the longest kick in NFL history. He's got 7 Pro Bowl nods. And if he were to retire today, even though he's got to wait until he's eligible, they should put him in Canton anyway. He is that good and that fantastic of a player. You know from firsthand experience, what keeps this guy going day in, day out? What is Justin Tucker's motivation to continue to be better than he was the previous day? What have you seen over the years? This guy's work ethic, the work he puts in each day. You're smiling right now. What can you tell us about that?
We did this thing last year. It was like, what's your why? Harbs passed out all these cards, and you write it on there, and they put it up on the board. And Tuck had like a pamphlet because he had so many, and it was like money, cars, big house. Like it was all the, it was obviously a joke, but Tuck, I think the reason Tuck is so good is because his work ethic is unmatched. I think he outworks everybody day in and day out. I know, I'm not out there as much this season, but the 3 years I've been with him, he's kicks every day, which I don't think anybody in the NFL does that. He's a perfectionist. Every single kick has to be perfect, whether it's a PAT, whether it's, 60 yards, it all has to be the same. And it's not gauged on whether or not it's good today. It's gauged on, is it going to be good in December or in January or in the Super Bowl? Because he's played in Denver, frozen ground in negative degree weather, hit a pretty big field goal to win them, send them to the Super Bowl, I think, or the
AFC Championship game.
Okay. Yep. That was well before my football time. Send to the AFC Championship. So he knows that just because it's good in April or May or August or September doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good when it counts. Mm-hmm. So I think his work ethic is why he is so good. I think the reason he continues to try to be, the best and great, as Sam Cooke would say, I think he loves football. I think Tuck is a guy that really loves ball, and he really loves what he does. But I think Tuck wants to be, people say all the time that he's the best and all this stuff, but I think Tuck really wants to be known like when it's over, because everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people say Vinatieri because he's played so long and all that stuff. But I think Justin, he wants to be that guy who's number one. He's going to be the best percentage field goal, best percentage makes of all time. He wants to have the longest kick. He wants to be the highest earner. He wants to have the highest contract. He wants everything to be the top. Like that's just what he is. And I think he goes like that's what's kind of driving him. Every time he gets a new contract, it's like, oh, so and so got this. I got to get, I'm up and I'm up and he does that because he does it on the field, and he also, he's just a competitive all the way around. And one of the reasons I'm here is because of Justin Tucker, and I don't want to be anywhere else because he's the best. When you play with the best, you get to be, it pushes you to be better. It makes me a better player, and so I love being here. And I think Justin's, obviously I think he's the best, but
I mean,
I'm some people say he was down or whatever this year, but it is what it is. I think he misses some kicks that
he had a down year because his average miss is like 57 yards this year,
which is insane.
And one of them was blocked, and it's like, okay, like let's calm down. He missed one from 60, one from 59. It's like, oh my God, how could he ever do it?
Well, and that's his down again. This is his down year, which is what, at 87%, something like that, or how high it is. I'd have to look it up real quickly. But that's almost career years for guys, and you can see it. I mean, look at what's happening around the NFL. The Rams are replacing their kicker again because they were missing extra points and almost lost the game to the Giants. You look around at teams where it's not a stable, just put it in a better word, it's not a stable position. And not only that, Justin came in Baltimore too, because Nick, is before your time here. Matt Stover was an unbelievable kicker here in Baltimore, and everyone was like, "Well, how can that guy be replaced?" Well, how he was replaced is the greatest kicker of all time came around. That's how.
Don't forget about Billy Cundiff.
Yeah, we can.
We try.
Billy wasn't.
We try.
Hey, I know he missed the kick. I know he missed the kick.
He was really good.
He was a very.
He was a Pro Bowl kicker the year his last year here.
Yeah,
he was a Pro Bowl kicker. So he was, he's not Justin Tucker, but he's still a good player.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I feel bad for, no matter what, the next player coming in had to live up to Stover's kicks in big moments. Yeah, Billy Cundiff had a great year, but unfortunately, what he's remembered for is the shank in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, he'll never live that one down.
Before Billy Cundiff, it was Steve Hauschka.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Shane Graham.
They've been a kicking factor. Graham Gano did time.
The goat pin, as we call it.
Will, do you guys actually?
Tuck calls it the goat pin. I swear to God,
that's
Nick,
incredible.
It's the goat pin.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nick, while we're talking about Tucker, real quick, because we don't, media-wise, we don't get to film you guys, special teams-wise. We get like a 15-minute practice window where we're, getting quarterbacks, getting receivers. They don't even, we're not allowed to shoot special teams. You guys do your own thing. What does a Justin Tucker practice look like, special teams-wise, for him? Because I think fans, they see the clips where he's acting like a quarterback. He's catching balls as a wide receiver. Do they let him do just basically whatever he wants out there?
No, I mean, okay, let's get one thing on the record. Okay, Tuck works really hard. Okay,
no, of course.
The stuff that he does, it's all part of his shtick. Like he's got a big personality. He's probably, now that Brandon Williams isn't on the team, he's probably our biggest personality as far as outspoken around the in the facility and on the practice field and things like that. So the quarterbacking, I mean, he still claims he's the best punter on our team, and Stout's pretty good. And we also have Sam Cook's also in there. So Tuck just, he does punting, he does quarterbacking. We do stuff because there are scenarios where he could potentially throw a ball, as funny and as goofy as it sounds like. Those are things that we don't necessarily just do for shits and giggles. Because there are times where he could maybe throw a football. Yeah. Same with Jordan. And we saw Sam Cook was 7 for 8 in his career. So, we do that stuff for fun, but also because it's, we just get something out of it. But as far as his actual practice goes, if he's kicking, if we have field goal period up, like Wednesday's our big kick day, he's going to do, we got kickoffs. We're going to run through his whole set. And it's, start at extra point, back it up 3 yards, switch hashes every time he kicks, get all the way to the 40, then flip sides of the field, do the same thing in reverse, start at the 40, move up 3 yards, switching hashes all the way to, we finish at the 20-yard line on the other side. But it's, every kick is perfect, or we're doing it again. And if we do some days where it's bad weather or one of us is in a rut, we'll start that thing over. And we've definitely started it over from almost being done. And that's just the perfectionist.
How long does it take for you usually to get through?
If we can go through it with no hiccups, it takes 15 minutes maybe, just because in between kicks we might, if we're walking to the next spot, getting set up, switching hands, getting the balls, whatever. But normally it takes closer to half an hour, 20, 30 minutes. It just depends, it gets tough late in the year. Kicking like on Wednesday when it's like today would have been brutal, like 38 degrees out there, 40 degrees. The ground's hard. It's windy. It's cold. It's like, you've already won everything that you need to. And so there are days like that, but I think overall, Tuck, his routine is very meticulous, does the same thing every time, never changes it, never does anything different. It's always the same. And he's perfected that over 12 years in the NFL. And that is part of why he is who he is.
That's why he is who he is. And that is, it's being attention to detail and making sure if you have something that's working, you continue to do it. He doesn't cut corners is what you're saying. And that's something that is.
It's like Wendy's, dude. They got square patties to show that they don't cut corners. That's their thing. I swear.
That is not where I thought you were going.
I knew that was the one, but I've never heard of the Wendy's square burger as a way to describe an NFL kicker.
They don't cut corners. He said it. It sparked my memory.
Okay, so now what we're getting at is Justin Tucker and Wendy's are intertwined.
We need
because they don't cut corners. Wendy's,
no.
We need
He's
another
a Royal
sponsor.
Farms guy, Rip.
Yeah, but they're chicken, dude. They're chicken nut burgers.
Yeah,
Think of chicken and gas and coffee.
They don't cut corners either, Rocco.
Well, you know what? Hey, you know what? Royal Farms doesn't cut corners, and
They
they can
don't.
come be a sponsor of the Ryan Ripken Show, and we can forget
right.
all
We
about
love
Wendy's.
Royal Farms.
To be honest,
Yeah,
we do all
love
love
Royal
Royal Farms.
I would
Absolutely.
love a Rofo sponsorship.
Oh, are you kidding me? In this economy, it'd be tremendous. Before I want Kevin, you to break down some snubs here. We'll get to that in a second. I want to ask you about one more player, though, Nick, because there's a lot of deserving Ravens, right? I mean, Matabike, incredible season. PQ going out there. He's balling out. There's a lot of great moments, right, for the team. But one guy, because at the time we talked about this draft, Linderbaum coming over or then being the selection at a time when everyone's going, you're taking a center at this time. And for people watching it and people in Baltimore understanding how impactful and important, you talk to some of the great quarterbacks, having a guy up front that you can rely on and trust. Can you just talk a little bit about on him finally getting some recognition that he deserves? Because in my opinion, he really is one of the best centers in the game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I think Tyler's one of my good friends. I think he's the best in the league. I also, my comparison with him is Jason Kelce, and I tell him all the time he's like a smaller, less handsome version of Jason Kelce, less bearded version, I should say. But that's his, like, to me, I don't know a whole lot about center and offensive line. Other than we both snap the ball.
I was going to say, I feel like you actually know a decent amount about snapping the ball.
Yeah, but what I do is snapping. What he does
way.
is Ryan would call it hiking. It's still
I got blasted. He's like, well, Ryan, hiking the ball. What the hell do you call it then?
Yeah,
you call it your snapping. What do you call his?
I'm snapping the pigskin. He's just hiking or whatever. But no, I agree. I think Tyler has been one of the most dominant guys since he's gotten to the league. Out of that draft last year, I thought he was, as a rookie playing center in the NFL with multiple different quarterbacks, because we had some injuries. I thought he handled that really well, played exceptional down the stretch last year. And this year, I think he's grown on that. He's shown that he is worth, everything that he got. And there's no one more deserving or I guess I'm trying to say no one is more deserving than Tyler. And I think he's a phenomenal talent, and I'm excited to have him around. Hopefully they can keep him in here.
Yeah. I think that's just a part of, I remember just at the time, if people talking around Baltimore, there was just that outrage because it's like, we need more weapons on the outside. You need more playmakers. But actually Baltimore football growing up here has been winning in the trenches, being able to dominate at the line on both sides of the ball, but then having a center that essentially, if your quarterback's, facilitating out, the center is putting you in a good position that everything seems to be more in sync. Like he's the anchor for that line. So it's really awesome to see. And those reaction videos are tremendous.
I mean,
by the way.
Kyle Hamilton had a slow 40 and had one bad rep in training camp. It was written off. And Tyler Linderbaum had short arms. That was because you can't block. He's going to be horrible in the NFL because he has short arms. And as he's proving, he's just not good. No problem.
Let's not forget, in 2020, we had some issues at center with Matt Skura, and then Pat McCary took over. Then we had Bradley Bozeman in 2021, but we lost Bose in March of 2021 or 2022 going to the Panthers. So we needed to fill that position. We didn't have a guy. I mean, we still had Pat McCurry on the thing, but he was kind of our utility guy.
Yeah.
He played a lot of tackle.
He's a Swiss Army
Yeah,
knife
he's done
out there.
everything. Pat can do it all. He can play tackle, guard, and center. But we needed a guy who could come in and play center all the time. And I think Eric made a great decision with Tyler.
I mean, you have a centerpiece to the offensive
100%.
line for the next, like you said.
He's like the commander. I know Lamar runs the offense, but when it comes to the offensive line and the blocking schemes and stuff like that, Tyler runs the show.
Yeah.
He's the commander of that group, and I think he has a great personality for it, and he's shown that he can handle and take that responsibility on as a young player who's only played 35 games or I guess coming up on 34 games next week or 35. And so I think he's perfect fit, and he's rightfully deserving of the Pro Bowl. And
Dog.
He should have got it last year. He's a freaking dog, and I love it.
I love that. Should have gotten it last year.
Well,
What they were
dog.
looking for.
Well, yeah, exactly. And how about this though? Your two picks then: Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum.
All of them, both of them, dogs.
Yeah,
Dog.
dogs.
So
first round last year.
yeah. So this is a tremendous shout out. I'm giving a round of applause again.
Eric DeCosta.
Yeah, all the way around, all the way around. Kevin, with all the talks, and rightfully so, and for the other ones that don't know on that list, it was Lamar Jackson, Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, Justin Madubuike, Tyler Linderbaum, and Justin Tucker, all deserving. But also, Kevin, I want you to touch on, because there was a lot of Ravens then that really probably deserved to be on it, and I want you to touch on that because they are having some fantastic seasons, even though they did not get the Pro Bowl nod.
Yeah, you could probably argue they could have double digits in Pro Bowlers.
I mean,
here.
they could field the whole offense.
Yeah.
The one that I'm looking at, though, and this is someone I've been talking about for years, Kevin Zeitler's not made a Pro Bowl in his career.
Oh yeah, don't get me started on that.
Which is unreal.
Get him started. Wait,
That guy-
Well, go ahead. Take it. Go ahead.
He's guaranteed to get snubbed from that, and it makes zero sense. He's like one of the best guards in the NFL. It makes no
years
sense.
too.
Dude, the guy's been in the league 12 years.
And he's been a top guard the entire time.
It's unreal.
It's insane. I think it's a bit
insane.
now. I think the
That's what
NFL
I'm
has
saying.
to be running a bit now.
I think it's
that's
like
it.
there's like someone's running a smear campaign on Kevin Zeitler, dude.
It's insane. Each year he's literally like one of the top guards across the entire board, and it's just like
it's like
he'll give up no pressures for
yeah.
like 7 straight weeks, and people
He's
like
steady. He's a steady guy that he's playing.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Quentin Nelson, Batonio, and Thuney, but I mean Zeitler. It's just even a Baltimore thing. Every year he's been with the Ravens, he's deserved the Pro Bowl. And it goes back before the Ravens too.
Mhm.
I just don't know how you look at a guy like Kevin Zeitler and you can still say today that he's not a Pro Bowler. He absolutely is, and I don't know why he hasn't made it.
Well, and that's the part. Go ahead, Brad.
I was going to say, I also don't understand how Geno Stone didn't get the Pro Bowl when you get 7 interceptions on the year. That makes zero sense.
Agree.
Yeah, this guy said egregious, and I totally agree. I think Geno has stepped into a role that he's kind of solidified himself in our defense. Went from maybe being like a sometimes player to a special teams guy to now he's like a staple in our secondary. And 7 picks in the NFL is just insane.
It's second in the league.
Yeah,
You don't see that anymore. You don't
That's
see it.
absurd.
Yeah.
And is it what he didn't start every game at DB? Why he didn't get it?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Pro Bowls. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to be in the Pro Bowl one day.
Yeah, you're about to go. The Pro Bowl's a joke.
But no,
Screw the Pro Bowl. I want to be in it.
no, none of that. But I do think there are instances where guys get in because of who they are, not because of
Name
what
value.
because of what they have done, not because of what they are doing currently.
Yeah,
And
that
I
makes
think
sense.
Kevin and Geno are 2 guys that they're 100% Pro Bowl worthy, and they should be in the Pro Bowl without a doubt. And they're maybe behind guys like Quentin or somebody at, I don't know, a safety off the top of my mind, but that are maybe a little bit of a bigger name that they can sell a little bit more, and that maybe didn't produce that much this year, but last year they did this, that, and the other, and it's like,
Especially with the Pro Bowl being
it's
now,
the 2024
it's not even.
Well, yeah,
It's like more. I think it's the flag football game. It's all the events. So
But
I
it's
think that
like-
is part of it. Is they do want the stars. Like even if you're not having the best year, they're going to lean towards you. And it's also fan voting, so people just
and
go through.
It's tough because the Pro Bowl, they're not playing the game anymore, and it is more fan oriented nowadays with all the different activities and the fan involvement. But it's still like winning team last year. got 80 racks.
Yeah.
Losing team got 40.
So
it's not like it's just like, hey, you're in the Pro Bowl, good for you. It's like, hey, if you're in the Pro Bowl and your team wins, that's 80 grand.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Are you kidding me?
And Geno Stone has not gotten a massive contract.
No, he's on the tenure deal.
Yeah.
Or he's on he got the because he got him and Snoop got that. I think he's at like 2.1 or something this year.
I think that's the part of it. It's just that people being recognized. And to your point, Kevin, Zeitler is not a name when you look at some of the other guards that they're going to jump up and go, yeah, he's deserving. But people that watch him and are familiar with his work, is that a new phrase? Oh, I wasn't familiar with your work. His work is phenomenal. Geno Stone had a tremendous season, but it doesn't ultimately going to, lead to an opportunity to be in a Pro Bowl. That's the way the world works. And the fans, look, the sport doesn't happen without the fan support, right? And they want guys that they are fans of, but still it hurts because you want to see some people get in. And switching on the
well, real quick, I just do want to point out next year, have my word now, I am going to run the nastiest Nick Moore Pro Bowl campaign on Twitter of all time. We're getting Nick to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I need to get there.
Yeah, on those double vote days where like each retweets double the vote, we're gonna have all the burner accounts out. The burner accounts are going.
We're gonna get what they did for the Chargers did for Cameron Dicker. We're gonna get that type of campaign.
It's gonna work. It's gonna work.
That was Cameron's.
He was a stud. He deserved it.
I kind of pulled for him after that video. I'm not gonna lie.
I think he's definitely deserving.
He is.
He had a great year, and there's a handful of kickers in our conference that had unbelievable years. Unfortunately, Justin Tucker's also in our conference. So
hard to beat.
Unfortunately, you're in the conference with the greatest of all time.
I think the only guy that could have beat him was Aubrey and Dallas, and that's because he's perfect.
Yeah. Well, and he has been perfect. How about that to start his career? He's been dynamite. Let's switch gears though, because we're talking about snubs, and this doesn't really matter, Kevin. And I'll let you take this one away. It doesn't matter because it's a list, and you can go into what this list is supposed to represent. But the list is talking about top 5 defensive coordinators.
Right.
And I'm going to be honest here, Kevin. I didn't see the defensive coordinator that resides in Baltimore.
You did not, Mike McDonald. It was an NFL PA poll, if I believe.
I saw that. The PA poll. Yep.
It was.
I didn't get that poll, by the way.
Whoa!
I didn't get the vote.
So maybe he would have been if you had gotten it. Maybe he would have been snuck in there.
Nick was the last vote.
But,
so Kevin, explain a little bit about the whole backstory.
Yeah.
With it.
So the surveys for like future positions, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, they listed out top 5 offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, and the top 5, special teams too. And the top 5 on this list for defense was Aaron Glenn in Detroit, number 1, Steve Wilkes, San Francisco, number 2. Dan Quinn in Dallas, number 3, Brian Flores in Minnesota, number 4, and Raheem Morris with the Rams, number 5. Mike McDonald, nowhere to be found, and all NFC defensive coordinators. Another thing I noticed there too.
Yeah.
Didn't we dominate them on offense?
Exactly.
Like 2 of those. Yeah. The most prolific offense.
Aaron Glenn,
it's so weird because it was
and Raheem Morris. All 3 of those guys.
3 out of the 5.
It was your own team voted for wasn't it like your own team?
I don't know.
I think. I'm not sure how this.
We didn't have a single coach on there.
Yeah, which was weird.
And
I mean, I'm kind of okay with it. Like keep them.
Yeah, I mean, I just think with Mike, obviously, I think that's a snub. We have the best defense in the NFL, hands down. I think even with special teams and Chris Horton, we've had top 3 special teams since I've been here. So for the last 4 seasons, we've had a couple mishaps here and there, but we're still we're still known for special teams. We are the dominant special teams in the entire National Football League, and we pride ourselves on that. And to me, that's just a sham that he's not on that list.
I haven't seen any other special teams take one to the house to win the game.
One did.
It was the week one.
Week 1. Yeah.
Week 1.
It was
I'm
Aaron
not gonna lie.
Rodgers'
As soon as I
game.
said that, I was like,
Yeah, way to go.
But that was damn. It was AFC.
Terrible reporting. No, it was. It's only.
I haven't seen anyone after week 1 return one for the.
With a backup returner too. Not even our starter.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone with a backup returner.
Not even our 2-time All-Pro Bowl. Devin.
Well, also that moment. Not for any Jets fans out there, that was the highlight of the season. Really, I mean, maybe you're going to say
it was all
Eagles.
Downhill from there.
And then maybe is that Eagles game you had hope, and then right after the bye week, just everything fell apart. Mike McDonald though, it's no secret of how he has transformed or left his fingerprints all over this defense. Yes, Roquan Smith brought an attitude, but also seeing how he's using all of these pieces to this defense is really suffocating. It's a defense you don't want to go against. It's a defense that hits hard, that is going to punch you in the mouth, and you have to earn every single yard. And that was going to wear you down. And for the longest time, everyone was talking about, well, this Ravens team, they give up leads in the fourth quarter. Well, guess what? This team has done a tremendous job overall, and they've done it against some of the best units, especially the last two games, the 49ers and the Dolphins, two teams that can put up a lot of points and that can, in the 49ers case, can bully you. The Ravens defense was the one that was bullying that prolific San Francisco offense. And I mean, Kevin, we're hoping everyone maybe it keeps the pressure off of McDonald being a head coach candidate, right? I mean, he's terrible. He's awful.
He's not top 5. I guess. According to this,
bottom 3 coach I've ever witnessed,
whenever there's Mike McDonald praise or good things happening, all the Ravens fans say, "What are you talking about?
He's horrible.
What are you talking
it's
about?"
All Roquan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton and all. It's the players because they want to keep him around, and it's true. We're going to see some head coaching vacancies open up this spring. I think that personally, Mike McDonald's deserving of that, but obviously, selfishly, you would love to have him stay with the Ravens. And
here.
It's up to him too, right? Sometimes there are situations, and we saw this, years ago. Eric DeCosta's the assistant to Ozzie Newsome, and he ends up being, all the stuff about the role and the contract, and he ends up waiting for Ozzie to step aside to a different role, and Eric moves up. So is there, I don't know when John Harbaugh, there's that whole other people I think they're assuming that if the Ravens win this year, John Harbaugh is going to step aside and kind of ride off, which that's not set in stone.
Not going anywhere.
That's what
people
I'm saying.
People are like, oh, he's going to win, and then he's just going to be good. I'm like,
I think
they're going to have to wheel him off the field. That guy's not going anywhere.
What's in the Wolf of Wall Street? You're going to have to get a fucking, was it a wrecking ball? What's the quote again?
Yeah.
A wrecking ball to get me out of here.
An all-time just moment on this show has to be Parker sitting here and just randomly name drops. He was like, a few weeks ago when I was actually playing golf with Mike McDonald, I asked him about this, and we're like, wait a second, what? And he's like, yeah, me and Mike play all the time. And I was like, okay, awesome. Thanks for bringing this up now.
But there's this assumption that Harbaugh's just going to step aside. And I'm just like, he's not going to step aside.
Why? We've been so good for so long.
Have you seen his father? Like, they interviewed his father after the
Michigan.
After the Michigan game. And his father is like, I don't know, 100-some thousand years old, and he was still like jumping up and down and being like, "This game is great. This is amazing."
Jack coach the first three games this year when
he helped out.
Well, he was on the. I think he was on the.
He helped
I don't think he was actual head coach. He was on the sideline, like doing.
He comes around with us.
Unbelievable. So neither of those Harbaugh boys.
Dude, that family loves ball.
Yeah, that family is not leaving football.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
Well,
that.
Brad, to your point, that's it. Like you can see where they get that fire from. That is we talk about with my bloodlines with baseball. The Harbaughs with football just runs fucking deep, but also you can see that the teams and that they are running. You see at Michigan what they're doing. You can like Michigan or hate them. That team loves and is embodying what Jim Harbaugh said there. And also in Baltimore, John, since he's come in and people can complain all they want, that dude has set the tone for this team. And for 15 years, you can have a stable organization. And if you're from Baltimore and you've been watching, I don't mean to bring up some bad times, but with things with the Baltimore Orioles over all these years, do you see how hard it is to win? How hard it is to have a consistent contender? It's not going to be perfect, but the culture was set from top to bottom with Baltimore, and John Harbaugh is a big fucking reason because of it. And also, I mean, how do you not get fired up when he's dancing, he's smearing blood on his head?
That was incredible.
I mean, that makes you want to run through a wall. Like it really does. So it's an awesome story. The Ravens, they locked up the 1 seed. And the big question, obviously, is that what do you do now with the time off? And Tyler Huntley's going to start this game. We talked about that Lamar is sitting, and I know it brings fear back into people's eyes from 2019. Hey, I'm indifferent with it, to be honest. I just don't believe in my heart that, and in my mind, that this Ravens team, they've learned a lot since 2019. And if that's the right move, I trust what's going on. But I do recognize that, Kevin, I don't know how many days it was off on Lamar, but it's a similar scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a different answer this time.
And it's a different team. I mean, you have some of the same guys who are still there from 2019. Guys have come back from that 2019 team. But I don't like to kind of marry these histories together where just because everything happened and went the wrong way in 2019 means that it's all just going to fall apart again. I mean, the rest is important. It's important this time of year. And the fact that, I mean, I think any team would take the bye if they could have it. Like, it's that important to them. And I think that team was also young. I mean, that season entering was a big. Lamar went 6-1 in 2018, his rookie season. They led the team to the playoffs. That was a wild card loss. And the questions, and there was definitely some unfair narratives in there, but it was how big of a leap is Lamar going to take? What's he going to do? And obviously he went off 14-2 MVP season, but that target got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And some of those players were learning, okay, this is the NFL level. How are we going to deal with this? And I think, Ronnie Stanley, he talked about it. He remembers it. Lamar remembers it. Harbaugh, everybody remembers it. I just think they have the leadership on this team. Not that they didn't have it then, but the leadership on this team now with Roquan and how locked in Lamar is right now. I just don't think that they're going to allow it to happen again. Like, this team is locked in. They know what the goal is, and you can kind of sense the vibes are there. And Nick, I know when you being in that locker room, you can sense it there too. And you can hear even the players talking about the Pro Bowl. Tyler Linderbaum talking about the Pro Bowl. It's a great honor, but that's not their end goal, and that's not the team's end goal.
Yeah,
no, it's a different team. And I know, Nick, that was right before, you coming in here in 2019, you get to experience that. But the reality is, and you can even hear it on the Wired Up, like Roquan and Lamar, like, hey, we're just getting started. We're just getting started. We got more work to do. And this team seems like they're on a mission. It really does. But the next step is going to be in a couple of weeks. I know everyone in Baltimore too. I saw the comment here about the rest versus rust. And I know it's because with everything that happened with the Orioles, Texas was a phenomenal team. The Ravens, I just think all the pieces are in place. And I think the Ravens are I hope we're going to be destined for
I think leadership
things.
is in a better spot. Like the guys like Roquan Smith, Lamar has now been there, done that. It's even there was a mic'd video that dropped today, and everyone was super hype after this massive play in the Miami game. And Lamar was the one who was like, hey, everyone calm down. Like, job's not done. Like, we still got to finish the game. And that is like the vocal leadership of Lamar that you've seen. Like, Nick, I mean, you've seen it obviously a lot more up close than we have, but it does feel like from an outside perspective, each year he's gotten more and more comfortable being that vocal leader, and he's the guy. And I feel like, then you have Roquan on the defensive side, and now you have two really good leaders who want to go keep everyone in line, go make sure everyone is as prepared as possible, and then go win this championship.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I've heard some guys in the locker room talk about how this is different than 2019. I'm not involved as much this year's, so I'm not 100% sure, and I wasn't involved at all in 2019. But I definitely think you're right. Having two guys like Roquan and Lamar, who they're stout leaders, the hardest working guys on the team. I think we talked about Roquan last time, and they're battling against each other day in and day out throughout the whole season, and they're both showing up on Sundays and playing at the top of the league. I definitely agree. I think resting Lamar is the right decision, just because of how valuable he is to our team. And Kevin said it a minute ago that rest right now is very crucial. They just went through the gauntlet in their last 3 games, and Pittsburgh has a lot to play for. So their
lives,
and their defense is insane. I mean, with Cameron Hayward and TJ Watt,
Alex Highsmith,
it's like it's high risk, low reward for us if we play Lamar and we win. I think.
Yeah, well, I think Sarah Ellison, I believe, put this perfectly. She said TJ Watt being on a field chasing Lamar Jackson on Saturday is a lose-lose situation for the Ravens. There's just you can't necessarily win that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Regardless, the reality is that for the Ravens, if Lamar is not playing, the chances of going to a Super Bowl are not. I'm not going to say that they're gone. That's not fair, because the group's going to fight. But when you're losing the MVP of the league, The guy that's the heartbeat, that in any situation when he plays, you get a chance to win the game, and that's his career. When he's on the field, he wins more games than he loses. You're right. The risk is too much. And at the end of the day, losing this game is not the end of the world. For some teams, though, and that kind of wraps with the Ravens, and I want to segue in here. I'm trying to work on my segues. Losing sucks, by the way. No one likes losing, but in this case, it's
Horrible.
okay to lose. And Brad, we have a sound clip, and Rocco, I am fascinated with this because I really think over your career you've had to have some interesting sound bites. But Mike Vrabel, it's been a rough year for Tennessee, and no one's feeling sorry up here in Baltimore. I mean, the Titans are kind of that rival of the Ravens that is spoken more of recently because of the last few years, including that 2019 season. But Mike Vrabel was a little bit pissed off during a recent press conference about his season so far for the Tennessee Titans, and we want to play that for you right now.
Expand on because it sucks to lose, Gentry.
Trey, ever need to show you anything?
Did you have another thought, or no? I'm just curious.
Well,
it fucking sucks. Losing. Awful. That's why I want to win. Because you don't sleep. You want to win for the players that bust their tail. That's it.
It fucking sucks. And it does. Losing sucks. Now, Rocco, because you get to be in on these moments here, do you have a moment over your professional career in the sports world reporting? You got to have something for us.
Not necessarily.
When
a coach is no. I do when a coach is like gone off like that on me.
Yes, please.
When a coach calls you by your first name or last name, you know they're pissed off. Usually, because John Harbaugh in his Monday press conferences, he's nice. He refers to everyone as their first name, which is like, I guess, a term of endearment there. But I covered Nick Saban in Alabama. Zach knows I covered the Iron Bowl, right, Zach?
The Iron Bowl. I'm not going to cover the Iron Bowl.
Zach likes to bust my balls about that. No, but covering Nick Saban is like the closest thing that has come to that. I never, you would always like ask him a question and you'd get the look. And once you got that look, that dude had you locked in. If you messed up, if you asked the wrong question, it was game over. It was game over. Like you were getting the horns, you were getting the laser eyes, like it was done. So I had a few people I know that asked Saban questions, like maybe not even bad questions, and he just went off on them because that's just Nick Saban's thing. Usually he's trying to kind of create a message for his team in the locker room. He knows his guys watch the news, watch social media. So yeah, but my the dumbest moment probably in my reporting career asking a coach a question was back in college at Temple. So Temple, best season in Temple football history. They were undefeated to start. They hosted Notre Dame college game day. It's a fantastic year. They go to the AAC championship game and they play Houston. So all the talk was about Temple potentially building an on-campus stadium. Houston had one. Temple goes out. Greg Ward Jr. just torches them. Temple ends up losing the game. I forget what the score was. I don't remember if it was close or not, but I know Greg Ward went off in that game at quarterback. After the game, I was instructed by my student sports director at the time, to ask Matt Rule a question, regardless, about an on-campus stadium. So what my dumbass did was I listened, and they just lost the biggest game of their season. Matt Rule probably lost the biggest game of his career at that point in time. Everyone's just down in the dumps asking about the loss, and I go, hey, coach, like Houston, great atmosphere, on-campus stadium. What are your thoughts on Temple potentially building one in Philadelphia? And just the room got radio silent. Everyone just kind of like turned their heads, shook their heads. There's a guy I know that still gets on me about it to this day. And it was just one of the lowest points of my career by far. So he could have gave me the Mike Vrabel answer. I wouldn't have blamed him at all. But he was Matt Rule. Love him. Very nice about it. He's just like, not the time and place to talk about this.
I wish he ripped you a new asshole. I really did.
Time and place. You were, oh my God.
I was going to say Matt Rule is like way too nice. Like he was probably the best coach to ask somebody like a question like that because he is
Absolutely.
super nice. He's like
Super
one of
nice.
those super nice coaches, but like imagine asking Belichick a question like that.
Dude, if I asked Saban that, imagine if I asked Saban that or Belichick.
my
I'd be
God.
dead.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't have a job as
Yeah.
a
You
reporter
would not- you would
anymore.
not be here.
You would have
That would have
so
been
much.
insane.
Like, I think Matt Rule just thought, like, this is a dumbass student reporter that just doesn't know time or place. So I'm going to be nice, let him down easy. But he could have really came after me and he didn't. So shout out to Matt Rule for that.
When you do get yelled at, we're having an emergency press conference.
Yes.
It's because I want one of those like the Mike Gundy, like, come after me, I'm 40. And I want him to be yelling, and I want it to be like your question.
If
It'll be my goal by the end of the year too. I still got all of 2024 to just ask one of those questions and get yelled at. I don't think I want to do that to Harbaugh or Brandon Hyde though. Guess I'll keep that one in the chamber.
Hey, and even if it's not, maybe if it's even a player, maybe a friend of the program, Tyler
Hey, Nick
Wells.
Moore.
Maybe
Nick
to
Moore.
Nick
Hey,
Moore.
if I
Nick
ever
Moore.
get on the podium, brother, I'm coming for you.
Oh, dude, if you get on the podium, I'm coming for you. That's
Get
that's
ready
just
so I
how
can
it's
get
gonna
fired
be.
up.
What has to go down for you to get the post-game press conference? Like,
I mean, I'd have to do the touchdown.
Bowl, yeah,
I would have to
Sure.
strip it, score it, throw the ball in the stands. Have Antonio Brown my uniform on. and that would be
Oh my
me
God.
on the podium. Post
I was like sitting there, I was like, what would Nick have to do for them to be like, okay, people, we won on the post-game press
Yeah,
conference?
not
It starts
chance.
with it starts and ends with the touchdown.
Yeah.
That's what it
Yeah,
is.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, he would have to
because
screw up
they
a
did
lot.
not even they didn't want anything to do with me and Sam when we hit the NFL record kick. And we've had multiple game winners since then. Nothing. It's all Tuck does a good job of bringing us in, but never is it like, hey, let's get Nick and bring him over.
I can't wait for if it's a moment for you and someone's like, you know what? And this isn't at all possible without Nick Moore specifically. Did you see him go down there after
Dude,
after he snapped it?
I'm gonna ruin his moment. I'm gonna be like, so Nick, about that bad snap in the second quarter, can you talk us through that right now? Knock on wood, we don't want any of them. But that's just like that's gonna be
Nick
that
just got the
moment.
game-winning touchdown. Rocco's like, so we noticed you hit the ground on the first punt you put out. Is there anything going through your head right
Belichick
now?
could have tried harder on the celebration, but
Seriously.
Nick's holding the Super Bowl trophy. Rocco's like, not your best performance in the second quarter. Are you anywhere upset about this?
Nick, so what you
Knowing
do to
me, I probably would be frustrated with that.
Just gotta do better.
Shit.
Oh,
all right.
man.
Well, the point of all of it was going back is one day Rocco's going to get ripped, but it's a tough time for the Tennessee Titans right now. But it does not sound like they're giving in. And the Titans are one of those teams where you're sitting there. I'm like, damn, I don't know if I want to be playing them, especially the final game of the season. Why we're bringing this up is the playoff scenarios are pretty wild in the AFC right now. It's that the Bills could be the 2 seed or could be eliminated from the playoffs if the Jags, what they need the Jags to win and the Steelers to win, I believe is the scenario to be eliminated. Actually, I have it right here. This is how crazy it gets. The Bills clinch the AFC East with a win over the Dolphins. Buffalo clinches a wild card berth with a Steelers loss or a Jaguars loss or a Texans Colts tie. That seems a little bit unrealistic there. But you're going to see this. The Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are all fighting for the AFC South division title. Now, the Texans and Colts are playing each other. Colts win, it's simple, they're in. The Jaguars, if they lose, are most likely out of the playoffs entirely. And then there's the Buffalo
crazy?
Bills. It's wild.
All that math is so crazy to me.
Yeah.
Shows you just how wide open the AFC is. Like, everyone's so close that a team can literally get the 2 seed or be eliminated in the same weekend.
that's what I talk about with like you lose a game in week
Mhm.
5.
Yeah.
Talking about it here in week 18, and it could define your season.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I
I mean,
talk about all the
that's-
time.
And here we are.
Yeah.
And here we are with
Doing
it. The fact that I honestly, if I was making a pick for this weekend, guys, I know it's kind of late in the program. I'm kind of taking Tennessee. I think
They're
Tennessee
at
might
Jacksonville or at home?
It is at Tennessee.
Ooh.
After Vrabel just talked about how much he hates losing, he's not going to lose.
No way.
They've done a lot of losing this year.
Yeah.
I know a couple of guys on that team. It's been a rough year for them.
It's been rough,
yeah.
but you think enough's enough, right? Enough is enough.
Yeah.
I think Titans win that game. I would love to see CJ Stroud and the Texans get in, especially with the year. But one way or another, I mean, the Colts, how about that? The fucking Colts. The Colts are in with a win or a Steelers loss or tie.
Mhm.
Tremendous to think, especially when they lost their starting quarterback in Anthony Richardson, and Minshew Mania maybe isn't as alive as it was a couple of years ago. He's doing a really solid job for their squad. And
when your quarterback wears those jorts, you're gonna be good. Like,
did you see that video with him and Max Crosby? Max Crosby.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, little ass boy, and he's like, like, Max Crosby's angry. He keeps calling me little ass boy. Like, what's his deal?
So like when JJ Watt told Ray Rice, "I've eaten burritos bigger than you" on that wire.
And you took that, and it's taken personally. It was taken personally.
He probably has eaten.
Speaking of game picks, Ryan, we've been keeping track of this. Friend of the show has been keeping track of all of our records. I don't know. We weren't probably going to call the games this week just because they're next to impossible because people aren't playing. Blah blah blah. If anybody gambles on any game this week, you are a degenerate.
It goes
full blown degenerate.
I will have money on every single game. I can tell you that right. Every single one.
Go ahead.
Huntley first touchdown.
So hold on. I just wanted to tally it up because Zach, myself, and Ryan have been making game picks all season long, and Ryan, you did come out on top.
I know.
Wow.
So
I joined later.
Thank you, Kevin. Friend of the show.
147 games out of 217 guessed correctly. I was 141, so I was 6 behind you, and Zach was terrible.
Good, dude.
That's solid.
I see guys on ESPN that are like 2 and 20.
What's up, Rock?
I think I'm 0-1.
I kept falling in love with the backup quarterback this year.
I think I'm 12 and 4 this year. I always pick my guys. And we're 12 and 4. So.
No, you're not. 13 and 3.
Oh,
goodness.
Jeez, Louise. I don't even know our record.
So first he wants the Browns to win the Super Bowl.
You're trying to give the Steelers the win this
bad
weekend.
content for me. It's making me look really bad.
We're gonna Nick Moore.
Zach, we need a screw it Nick
came
Moore
in my
compilation.
Is that what is San Fran 12 and 4? Maybe.
Oh,
yeah.
my goodness.
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
Oh, Nick.
Yeah, because we've only lost to the Colts, the Steelers, and the Browns.
Yeah.
Oh, Nick.
Zach,
Nick.
I'm 13 and 3 then. My bad. Sorry, guys.
Fuck.
Zach,
what's my percentage, Brad?
We need to delete that, okay?
96 and 163 is Zach. He's 59%.
Oh, out of 100. Okay. I thought I got 163 volume for
I mean, Ryan and I should go to Vegas, to be honest with you. Yeah, Ryan got 6 more games right than I did, but I was 65% accurate and Ryan was 68% accurate.
Y'all picked every game this season?
We did.
I joined like halfway.
Just about. I think we missed like the first week.
We might have missed the first week, but we were hot. But the games that we do know, the Texans Colts is going to be a tight one. That Steelers Ravens still is going to have obviously huge implications.
I mean,
for
it's
Pittsburgh.
Steelers Ravens.
Yeah.
So.
And it's still the rivalry.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. And the Ravens actually in 2019 beat Pittsburgh and Baltimore with the starters being rested or some of them. Then you got that Packers-Bears game where the Bears are looking to ruin the Packers season. Once again, the Packers have a chance last game of the season to get in. Time will tell what will
Another
happen there.
divisional opponent game that they're going to play.
Yep. So there is some fun there. All right. I think one quick thing, Brad, I think because we're way over time. Like it happens the way the cookie crumbles. Rock, it's great to have you back in. We have the full house in here. And for everyone that's tuning in, I appreciate you guys all being here. And I was actually thinking about this. This was talked about before. Real quick, though. I guess it was last year, Brad, when we talked about games with playoff implications, their own implications. I mean, Nick, you were there last year where that was a weird situation.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you prepare for that?
Last year was kind of unprecedented, I think, in the NFL with the coin flip. And if you win, it's this. And if you win, whatever. So that was a different time for a lot of people. But I think all you can really focus on is what's happening right now. And as a team and a player in the NFL, all you can focus on is this week. Mm-hmm. Try to win this week, win this play. We always talk one play at a time. That's kind of the cliche thing, but I think it's so true because you can get caught up in the scenarios and like, where are we going? And your parents are like, where's the game going to be next week? We want to go. And there's a lot of shit going on, and it can easily get your mind taken away from what really matters. And it's going out there and playing your best and winning the football game. Because if you don't win a football game, then you could potentially be out of the NFL and it not matter. So I think most guys would probably agree that all you got to do is lock in on right now, focus on what you can, let the chips fall where they may when it's all said and done, and try to do the best you can this week.
Yeah. That's all you can do. And it's a hard thing, but if you don't win or take care of business, if you're in a game that you got to, hopefully win to have any chance, you got to take care of business first. On the other case too, there's things where, hey, you're in, but you're along for the ride and see what the hell happens. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of these teams, like we're seeing, the Lions are probably locked into the 3 seed. They're going to see what happens. And, the Rams are going to be the 6 or 7 seed, but they're starting Carson Wentz, whammy. There it is. You live with it, I guess. All right, let's do one baseball note here because it kind of involves the other team in Baltimore, and then we're going to get out of here. Is that okay with everyone? Is that okay? All right. Well, here it is. Real quick. John Morosi, MLB Network, was talking about, and everyone noticed that Chris Sale, and he actually just signed an extension with the Braves, going to get a little bit more money for the upcoming year. But when are the Orioles going to make a move? And we keep hearing this, and it's not just the speculation. Now, John Morosi went on MLB Network in the last day or so to talk about that the Orioles could very well be in on Dylan Cease, or very high on him, but there also is a sleeper team. So take a listen real quick.
Let's get to Dylan Cease, because I think after we saw the Glasnow move to the Dodgers, Dylan Cease is now the top arm available on the trade market. It's just not 1 year, it's 2 years. And that
was it not playing? Because it was playing on my side.
That was playing.
It was playing.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. Brad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Who's been previously a Cy Young Award finalist. Now, the one thing the White Sox could do is take this up until the trade deadline of 24 if Chris Getz and his front office team believe that Cease's value will increase. You see what he did between 22 and 23. Of course, the ERA came up, but the strikeout rate is still strong, and he is someone, you see it there, Matt and Harold, 33 starts. It's a very important number. The durability, a crucial quality right now for Dylan Cease. As I mentioned earlier on in the show, the Baltimore Orioles are a top suitor for Dylan Cease. One team, though, I'm watching carefully, and Harold referenced them earlier, the Mariners. Now, you might say, well, why would the Mariners be involved in trying to trade for a starter? They've got arguably the best depth of young starters in all of Major League Baseball. But one thing that they have not been able to do yet is land the major free agent bat, in addition, of course, to Mitch Garver. So perhaps their strategy could be get the starting pitching in, which then allows you to move a Bryce Miller or Brian Wu for an impact bat via the trade market. And I think that is an option. You think about the Rays with Yandy Diaz and the group of bats that they've got there. Stay tuned for that two-part move potentially by the Seattle Mariners. All right.
So there you have it. And this is nothing new to Orioles fans in ways that we've been hearing the connection. Dylan Cease, Orioles, Dylan Cease. Are they going to pay up what the White Sox want? And just to give the context of this, the White Sox don't have to do anything. If they have a price set, they might stay with that, because why would you want to lower that at a point where you don't have to be desperate? You can hold on to them go into the season and then go into the trade deadline where teams are going to be in the hunt and are going to need Dylan Cease. That is the reality. The only thing is, if you can't get a deal done now, that maybe you miss out on the opportunity. That's the fear for some teams. Now, for the Orioles, we've talked about in the past, for everyone that's joined in, the Orioles are really not going to stoop down. Mike Elias has a value. If the value's here, they're not going to take it any higher, and they're not going to lower their expectations unless that price is lowered. And if it's not that, Mike Elias is saying no thank you.
No, I think what is there that Mike Elias has done not to trust him in his talent evaluation? He has a plan. I think they stick to it. Like you just said, I don't think the Orioles are in a position where they feel like they have to go oversell in prospects to get a guy like Dylan Cease, because they have so many prospects and they know teams want to call them to get those prospects. So as much as, the White Sox don't have to do anything, the Orioles also have leverage in the fact that they are so young and have so much talent that they can shop for pretty much anyone. Jesus Luzardo, down in Miami, there are other options where, if the White Sox don't come down, they're like, okay, cool. That's not the only option. We can go somewhere else. And I think that gives Elias an upper hand as well.
I mean, if we're talking about a trade partner, the Marlins actually are very intriguing. Talk about some arms. And that is something Kevin is being from it. They do have some young players.
Yeah,
they have some really good young prospects.
Yeah, you don't have to, if you're the Orioles, you don't have to act from a stance of desperation. I mean, Elias has had this plan forever. He's executing it. And while we talked about, last time I was on, we talked about Kimbrel being on and then Josh Hader and why that's not the move right now. The move would be for a starter, but you're going to have opportunities. And then when you get to the trade deadline, if you're the White Sox, maybe there's another team that is in desperation, but that doesn't have to be the Orioles because there are other options out there. You don't want to miss out on everybody, right? You want to make a move somewhere, I think, but still, Dylan Cease is awesome. It seems like it's the perfect marriage based off of what could happen. Yeah. But if you have to go up to a level where you're not comfortable and give up one of these untouchable prospects, as so many people say, okay, this guy's off the table, that to me isn't worth it because the plan is not just for this year. The Orioles have much longer than just this year to compete. They have their whole future ahead of them.
Yeah, so I'll make this point, and Kevin, I understand. We need arms. It's not desperate. It's facts. And how is Cease not a premier guy? It's not saying I believe that Cease is going to bounce back. I believe that Cease is a high-end guy that can anchor your rotation, can be your ace. But the point with the Orioles are, whether people like it or not, they're not going to go and jump out there and overpay with prospects when they feel like they're still trying to figure out a few of their big names. I think in July, I still stick with it. July, they'd be willing to part with more guys because I think they'll have a better idea of guys that were big league ready or on the cusp. And that's where I think it stands with Dylan Cease. And on the flip side to it, if Kyle Bradish pitches like he did last year, you have another Cy Young candidate. I think Grayson Rodriguez makes the jump. And then you have John Means hopefully being healthy to go with a guy like Dean Kramer. So, yes, it's a really good rotation. Dylan Cease would take it over the top. Luzardo is very interesting. Been traded already a couple times. He's always intriguing to me. Young players. But, again, if you're around Baltimore watching it, they are not going to – if what the White Sox are asking for, and I think that what they're asking for is a lot.
Which they should.
Which they should.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He's really good. So if the point is, if they're asking for a lot, then they're not going to overpay. And quite frankly, the Orioles have guys, they have a lot of bats. We understand that. Did someone Chuck? Yeah. Did someone say trades? We take trades at Adam Jeep? Well, hey, we'll make a trade there. Or everyone, if you want to make a trade up there, I'll be a part of the trade to come up there to help with that process. You see that sign back there?
There we go.
If someone buys that Jeep, I will go up there and be there for that. If we set up the time, you can count it right here.
Damn.
We should see that.
I would go see that. Nick, we'll get you in the Jeep. We'll get you in the Jeep.
I'll get in the Jeep and we'll go to Royal Farms.
Yes, there will be so much.
And we'll get chicken, chicken and coffee.
This whole day can be yours if you just buy it.
And then Kevin can try a burger with an egg.
No, I'm doing the salts.
Yeah, no, he's doing sniffing.
The smelling salts. Yeah.
We're gonna see how Kevin's body reacts to it. It's like a science experiment.
I'm in for it. I'm ready.
It's gonna fire him up. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna. I can't wait. This could be the end of the Ryan Ripken show as we see it. Last thing just to cover, why don't we extend our guys? That could be a whole different conversation, Kevin. But I will say for everyone saying, Gunnar, why don't you take the money now? Or Adley,
they can get paid.
Who is Gunnar Henderson's agent?
Scott Boras.
And does Scott Boras take any type of discounts?
No.
He's gonna
never take him discounts.
No. So that's
he's gonna get his. He's gonna get
so the two guys at the Orioles I'd like to see extend. Adley's gonna have one shot at a big contract, in my opinion. Gunnar can have two. But unless the Orioles overpay, and I mean overpay for a young player that they're putting a lot of faith into, that is just not in the cards. I love Gunnar. You people have heard me talk about him. I love Adley. I love these young players. But that it takes two to tango. And I do understand from what I've heard, the Orioles have inquired about it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to match the offer that those players are looking for, and rightfully so. That's the business of the game. The only team that gets away with signing guys left and right is the Atlanta Braves, and that can be for a different day, or they just sign everybody because they have some sort of – it just works. It's unbelievable. It just works. All right. It's time to get out of here, though, guys. We've had a long enough show.
We had
full
some
house.
We had some fun.
Did we have some fun?
Did.
Was it
We
fun?
did. I think we did.
It was a fun show.
You set the tone. You said we were going to have fun.
Yeah,
I thought we had fun.
No fun.
Yeah.
No
No
fun.
fun zone.
Zero fun.
No fun. Rocco's back.
Rocco took his tie off so we could have fun.
He was free for us.
Yeah. Thank you, Rocco.
And one day, by the way, I don't mean to throw you out. Who's taller between you and Rocco?
I don't know, Rocco. How tall are you?
Oh, no. Don't say. Don't say. This is another Ryan Ripken show.
I've said it here.
It's up for debate how tall I am.
Oh, another thing. We're going to go against the Adams Jeep wall right here, and we're going to measure.
Mark it against the wall.
Mark it against. Oh, it's
I say,
who's taller than the sign?
I say I'm 5'9.5" on a good day. 5'9.5" on a good day.
Right.
Everyone else thinks I'm 5'6".
I thought you were going to say everyone else.
I'm 5'8" on a good day.
Oh, Rocco, do you Ron DeSantis it and wear the boots on camera? So you appear taller. He's like, I'm 5'11". Really, you're 5'9", Ron.
Show up in like 5-inch
The
heels.
platform shoes.
He's got
dude, I should.
Like
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
That's Nick. That's a good idea, though, man. I honestly, I need to reach that 6 foot mark.
I saw something. Somebody called him out, and because he was wearing like cowboy boots at one of the debates.
Oh man.
And he was. They were giving him a hard time because they're like, we all know you're 5'10", dude. Don't say you're 6 foot. Okay.
Oh gosh, I can't wait for our dress code: black collared shirts, cowboy boots, and then we are going to measure if Kevin or Rocco is taller than that sign.
This is the content you tune in for.
Yeah, this is why you tune in. This is why you tune in.
Well, also, by the way, I didn't realize on the YouTube channel now we are available to offer memberships to do even more behind the scenes stuff. If people actually want to see that, that could get a little bit wild. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, they could.
I have a good suggestion. I think Kevin does smelling salts, and him and Nick do the Oklahoma drill right after. Great content.
I need some time. He might win right now.
How do we get that past the Ravens?
Yeah, I need to get healthy, and then we can revisit this.
That can be your first hurdle. All right, Nick, you're ready for contact.
Kevin, or we do the conditioning test.
Oh, I'm done with that one. I told Cards, I was like, there's no way I run that test again. I just got to get that out there because I blew my Achilles out running that fucking thing.
Was that when you did it?
Oh, yeah. He got rid of it. All those other guys like Odell and them, they didn't have to run that shit.
Well,
you took one for the team.
You did.
Yeah, as Nelson Aguilar would say, I ran so everyone else could walk. And they all got to do 50-yard striders, and I fucking over there running our damn conditioning test and blew out my shit.
God. It was tough. That was, my God.
Could you imagine, though, the conversation Nick has to call John Harbaugh? Hey, so rehab was going really well. So, on the Ryan Ripken show, they asked if I wanted to do smelling salts and then do an Oklahoma drill. And it blew out again.
Some 5'8" guy.
It blew out again. Harbaugh looks up, it's you versus Kevin. He's like, what did he want to prove here? What could he want to prove?
Just trying to be great all the time.
Oh, my God. Yep. Chuck.
Come on,
please use the wall. Rocco won't clear the floor. So hold on, let's count real quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh man!
To think I was becoming a Jeep guy, and then you do this to me. This hurts.
This is insane.
The fourth Jeep so it's the second Jeep from the top.
But I think you're right.
I don't.
Oh no, that's the fourth. Never mind. No, from the bottom, the way bottom. There's one Jeep at the bottom. So 1, 2, 3.
Okay, it goes
So
back
it'd be
and
the
forth.
top.
Yeah,
It alternates back and forth. Yes,
You might be right. Unfortunately,
Right on the right side. I don't clear that sign. I don't clear that sign.
God.
All
right. Let's get the hell out of here. All right, for everyone for tuning in, thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Ryan Ripken Show. You can listen to it on Apple and Spotify. We will have the live stream up on YouTube right after this, so you can watch them. We'll have some videos clipped, and we will be back next time on Monday. We'll have a full playoff picture set in the NFL. Hopefully there'll be some more baseball news, but it's the off season. But we might have some smelling salts, some Oklahoma drills, and possibly a measurement at the Adams Jeep sign for the Ryan Ripken Show.
We also do next time Nick is, and Nick, you didn't know about this, but me and you have to arm wrestle next time.
Oh, next time?
Yeah.
Okay. I need some
We
time to
teased it.
prepare.
Yeah, we
I saw
teased
the
it.
comment about it.
Yeah.
Nobody said names. So.
Yeah, no, it was. I put it on Twitter, 1 like, and I would challenge you to an arm wrestling contest.
Well, that was pretty easy.
And then I liked it.
There you go.
Challenge accepted. All right, let's get the hell out of here. For Ryan Ripken, Nick Moore, Kevin
Here
Ostreicher,
we
Zach
go.
Bollinger, Rocco, and Brad. Thank you guys for stopping in. We will see you on Monday. And, maybe a new saying I like to do it on Fridays. Have a day, have a night, have a weekend, and we will see you on Monday for a new episode of the Ryan Ripken Show.
Let's get it.
Gosh, I can't
Bye-bye.
wait to see the measurement or the Oklahoma drill. Are you kidding
Somehow
me?
I'm involved in all of these.
Yeah, we